Conan's 7-year-old kid is a hacker. Chapter 1: The Mysterious Transfer Student. Daidan Primary School, Year B Class. Hello, classmates. Teacher Xiaolin greeted warmly as she entered the classroom. Hello, Teacher Xiaolin, the entire class shouted in unison. Smiling, Teacher Xiaolin said, "Students, we have a new classmate joining us today. Please welcome them and get along well." She then gestured toward the door, beckoning someone outside. "Teacher, is the new student a boy or a girl?" Genta asked excitedly. Teacher Xiaolin smiled and replied, "Fei Tianqing, please come in." Hearing the name, Conan froze for a moment. Fei? That's the same surname as Rant's mother. His curiosity was piqued as he watched the new student walk in. A girl with long brown hair and a peaked cap stepped into the room. Her cold expression and quiet demeanor reminded Conan of Hybra. "All right, Fei, please take any empty seat," Teacher Xiaolin instructed. Without a word, Tianqing headed to the vacant seat behind Conan and sat down. She remained silent and withdrawn throughout her first day, appearing lost in thought. The bell signaling the end of the school day finally rang, and the young detective team wasted no time surrounding the mysterious new student. "Where do you live, Fei? Why don't you join our young detective team?" Ayumi asked cheerfully, reaching for Tianqing's hand. "Don't touch me." Tianqing snapped sharply, pulling away. Her sudden outburst startled Ayumi, Hybra, and Conan. "I'm sorry," Tianqing said quickly, slinging her school bag over her shoulder. "I don't like being touched." With that, she left the classroom in haste. Her reaction unsettled Hybra. She turned to Conan and murmured, "Did you sense that? The aura she gave off, it felt murderous." Conan nodded. "Yeah. That kind of sharp alertness only comes from two types of people, killers or undercover agents. Either way, she's used to being on guard." Genta, still staring after Tianqing, suddenly suggested, "Why don't we follow her? We can find out where she lives." Ayumi and Mitsuhiko's eyes lit up with excitement. "Yes. Let's do it," they agreed in unison. "Hey, is that really a good idea?" Conan protested, feeling torn. Hybra, meanwhile, wasn't interested in the plan. "You're on your own for this," she said flatly. "I'm not playing along." Ignoring her, the others hurried off after Tianqing. Conan hesitated but eventually followed, reluctant to leave them unsupervised. The group trailed Tianqing as she walked through the streets. Conan, however, quickly noticed something was off. Tianqing abruptly stopped in an alley and turned to face them, her icy gaze locking onto their group. "Have you had enough?" she asked coldly, her voice dripping with menace. The kids froze, stunned by her tone. Mitsuhiko stepped forward nervously. "We just wanted to be friends with you, Fei." Tianqing let out a bitter laugh. "Friends? Stalking someone isn't how you make friends. And for the record, I don't need any." She turned on her heel and began walking away but stopped at the alley's edge. Looking back, her eyes narrowed dangerously. "Don't follow me again. If you do, I'll hate you even more." The chill in her voice left everyone frozen in place. Just then, Tianqing's phone rang. Her expression softened immediately as she answered. "Hi, Mom. What's up?" The voice on the other end belonged to Kisaki Eri. "Tianqing, I'm swamped with cases today. Could you come to my office? I'll take you out to dinner once I'm done, okay?" Tianqing's face lit up. "Sure, Mom. I'll head over now." "See you later, sweetheart," Eri said warmly before hanging up. Genta and Mitsuhiko blushed, captivated by Tianqing's unexpectedly sweet smile. "She looks so cute when she smiles," they murmured. As Tianqing skipped off, a faint resemblance to a normal 7-year-old reappeared in her demeanor. Kisaki Eri's law firm. Eri sat at her desk, her thoughts heavy. Her daughter, who had been missing for 10 years, had suddenly reappeared as a child. Though the situation seemed impossible, the evidence left little room for doubt. A month ago, after a late night at work, Ari had found a drenched girl passed out outside her building. She brought the girl home, only to realize with a jolt that she bore an uncanny resemblance to her long-lost daughter. When the girl regained consciousness the next morning, she stared at Ari with tears in her eyes. "Mom," she whispered, before breaking down entirely. Ari's heart ached as she held the child close. "My child, where have you been all these years?" The girl, introducing herself as Muri Tianqing, explained her incredible story. She had been taken away for training, sent on missions, and eventually poisoned by an enemy. Instead of dying, the poison had de-aged her to the body of a 7-year-old. Ari, overwhelmed with emotion, believed her. Hugging Tianqing tightly, she said, "You've suffered so much. But you're home now, and I'll never let you go again." Tianqing smiled through her tears. "I missed you, Mom." The bond between mother and daughter, lost for years, was finally rekindled. Chapter 2: Birds and Beasts Concentration Camp. Tianqing went to Fei Law Firm as soon as school was over that day. "Sister Ayama, here I come." Tianqing walked in and saw Miss Ayama. Miss Ariyama raised her head from her desk and saw Fei Tianqing entering the door. "Tianqing, you've come to see your mother. The teacher is seeing a visitor inside. How about you do your homework here and wait for her?" Susan took Tianqing to the sofa and left to make tea for her. Not long after, I came in with a cup of iced black tea. "Tianqing, please do your homework here first, and then go in after the teacher has finished seeing the guests." Miss Abiyama put down her tea and ordered. "Thank you very much, Sister Susan." Tianqing responded politely to Susan's words. Tianqing reluctantly took out her homework and did it. For Tianqing, the first grade homework could be completed in less than 10 minutes, but now to avoid being suspected, she insisted on extending the homework time to 30 minutes. "Mom, hurry up and finish seeing the guests. I will definitely go crazy if I keep pretending." Just when Tianqing was about to collapse, Fei's office door finally opened. I only saw a middle-aged fat woman taking the lead and walking out. "I'll leave the matter to you, Lawyer Fei." The fat middle-aged woman was politely talking to Fei Lily as she walked. Tianqing was observing this woman, and the moment she turned around, a slight sinister smile appeared at the corner of her mouth, which Tianqing immediately caught in her eyes. "I must find out her details." Tianqing secretly took a photo of her and continued to pretend to organize her review materials. After seeing off the middle-aged woman Fei Miles, she finally has time to rest. "Tianqing, you've been waiting for a long time, right?" Ari walked over to her daughter and sat down. Tianqing hugged Fei, sitting next to her. "Mom, no, I have finished my homework." Tianqing looked at her mother coquettishly. At this time, a pair of sharp eyes stared closely behind Tianqing, and Tianqing also felt the murderous look in his eyes. That woman must be a dangerous person. I will never let her hurt my mother. Tianqing made a decision in her heart. "Come in." Ari took Tianqing into her office. After entering the office, Tianqing immediately asked about the fat middle-aged woman who had just left. "Mom, who was that woman just now?" Tianqing asked. Fei took a sip of water. "She and her husband are getting divorced. We were just discussing the custody of the children." Ari put down the water glass and answered the question. "But after I calmed down and thought about it, I realized something strange. But that woman seems a bit strange. Every time she comes here, she never sees her child." Ari recalled several meetings. Tianqing felt something in her heart after hearing Fei Li's words. Could something happen? Tianqing thought and made up her mind to find out the details of the fat woman. "What's wrong?" Ari looked worriedly at her daughter who was meditating. "Mom, I think you'd better not meet her alone. If you want to meet her, you must do it in the office or a crowded place." Tianqing reminded Fei Li seriously. Ari was stunned for a moment but agreed to her daughter's request. Mom, didn't you say you wanted to help me buy computer accessories? Can you go? Tianqing successfully changed the subject in a young voice. He also cooperated when he heard his daughter change the subject. You can wait until I finish reading the information I just compiled before we go. And I promise you won't meet her alone. Don't worry, you little devil. Ari stroked Tianqing's little head. Then I'll wait for you on the sofa. Tianqing took out a book from the bookcase and read it. The book was bought by Tianqing before. Tianqing thought it was too heavy and put it in Ari's office. Time passed by minute by second. I don't know how long it took. Tianqing covered her face with a book and fell asleep. When Ari read the last page, she found that Tianqing was sleeping on the sofa. Why is this child asleep here? Ari looked at her watch and it was already 9 o'clock. Then she walked to the sofa and took off the book covering Tianqing's face. When she saw this young face, Ari was moved. Mom, I'm hungry, Tianqing said in a daze. Looking at such a cute daughter, Fei Li secretly kissed her. Okay, let's go eat now, Ari whispered. When I heard the word miles, Tianqing looked at the miles. Mom, you finished reading the documents. Tianqing was completely awake at this time. Looking at the sleepy daughter, Fei Mili's eyes were filled with stars. Yes, I'm sorry, I made my baby girl starved. Looking at you now, I feel much younger. After Ari said that, she hugged Tianqing tightly. Okay, let's go. After Ari said that, she picked up her bag and left the office with Tianqing. In the car. Tianqing, what do you want to eat? Ari asked her daughter's opinion. Tianqing thought about it and let Fei Li make the decision. Anything is fine. By the way, Mom, why don't you go over there and get that thing first? Tianqing's eyes were shining brightly. Starry-eyed daughter Fei Li couldn't understand why her daughter was so interested in that thing. Yes, Ari looked at her daughter beside her and was at a loss for words. Leaving the business mile and taking Tianqing to a computer mall. Mom, I'll go in and buy it myself. You wait for me here. Tianqing said and entered the store. Soon he came out with a small box. What is this? Ari looked at the box in her daughter's hand curiously. This is the core of my supercomputer, Tianqing said with a slight smile. Ari parked the car in front of a restaurant. Let's eat here tonight, Ari said after parking the car and looking at the storefront. During the meal, Ari took care of Tianqing and helped her wipe her mouth. This process was Tianqing's favorite because she gained the long-lost maternal love from it. On the way home. I must install it tonight. Tianqing looked at the software and was excited. Looking at the excited Kunoichi concubine Miles, she reminded her. You kid, don't play too late. I know, Tianqing said happily. Ari's house. Tianqing, you go take a shower first. Ari called Tianqing when she came out of the bathroom. After Tianqing took a shower, she immediately got into the room, locked the door, and started to install the software. After installing the software, she entered her own world, the chat group called Birds and Beasts Concentration Camp. Bowsy, you are finally back, the demon fox said. Bowsy, where have you been in the past 2 months? Hackers also appeared. Looking at the lively crowd, Tianqing sighed and replied to several people's messages. I almost never came back, Bowsy said emotionally. Bowsy, you were bitten by a dog, Qiushui appeared. After seeing Qiushui's reply, a tic-tac-toe appeared above Tianqing's head. Qiushui heard that you changed to a $500,000 anti-attack software. I think it's time to change it. Bowsy made a sinister smile. Looking at Tianqing's reply, Qiushui immediately gave in. Today's weather is very nice and the sky is clear. Qiushui changed the topic. By the way, is Ying here? Bowsy asked. Bowsy has something to do with me, appeared. Ying helps me check a person. The photo has been sent to you. Give me an answer as soon as possible, Bowsy said. I saw Bowsy, don't worry. Ing gave Bowsy an answer after receiving the information. Bowsy, I love you so much, Pia Piao suddenly appeared. I'm cold. Bowsy was speechless. Don't be afraid that I will save you. TK also interjected. Introduction to Animal Concentration Camps. This is not an ordinary group. In the group are all the most capable black and white people from all over the world. Some of them are wanted by 26 countries. For example, Demon Fox, a doctor who once tried to save a man who has been dead for 5 hours, was hailed as a genius medical scientist at the age of 17. Shadow, he is the boss behind the scenes in the Japanese underworld. He has a hidden killer group, Ming, which is a terrorist organization that can kill your father if you can afford it. Hacker, he once broke into the bank system, the Bureau of Secret System and the witness confidentiality system in a week. This incident almost drove the FBI crazy. Is Bowsy here? I need your help with something, the puppet said. When a few people were chatting, Tianqing received an interesting message. Here, Xiao Kuei, what's going on? Bowsy replied immediately. I have a client who offered me $10 million to hack into a law firm's computer and steal her client information and publish it. She wants that lawyer to be ruined, the puppet said. Wow, $10 million. How much hatred does that lawyer have with your client? Demon Fox became a little interested. What I'm more interested in is that person who is so capable of stopping your attack and defense, Ing said. Others in the group became curious about this matter, because the puppet is the world's second-ranked hacker. There is no system that he can't break, so everyone in the group is very curious. Not only is it invincible, but my own computer is also useless. The puppet gritted his teeth angrily. Really? I'm also interested in that firm. Bowsy said with a smile on his lips. But within 2 minutes, the puppet made a screaming pattern. Ah, Bowsy, why are you suddenly attacking me? The puppet suddenly collapsed and screamed emoticon. I'm just letting you taste what it's like to have a scrapped computer, Bowsy smiled sinisterly. Tianqing finally knew who had such a big dog dared to invade her mother's computer that day. It's hard you installed that software. The puppet trembled a little as if it was remembering something terrible that day. Tianqing ignored his surprise and sent him a message directly. Give me your client's information. Bowsy suddenly calmed down. Others in the group felt that Bowsy's message clearly contained a trace of murderous intent. What's the matter with the buns? Ing felt murderous. I can't give you the information about Bowsy's client, the puppet replied with a trembling body. 2 more minutes passed. Wow. Bowsy, why are you blowing up my database? The puppet cried out sadly. Tianqing sent an innocent emoticon out. If you don't give it to me, I'll have to take it myself. I'll be sorry if I get the wrong document. Bowsy's words express no attitude of admitting his mistake at all. The puppet is heartbroken. Bowsy, you did it on purpose, the puppet wailed. Looking at the puppet's reply, Tianqing gave him another gift. Wow, I just saw Miss Yoko's collection, Bowsy said with a sinister smile emoticon. You don't want Bowsy. I'll just give you the information. The puppet surrendered and sent the information to Tianqing as quickly as possible without missing a beat. I sent you the information. The puppet looked at the destroyed documents and cried bitterly. After receiving satisfactory information, Tianqing began to comfort the puppet. Don't cry. As long as you enter the correct command and crack the game I created, your files can be restored. Bowsy decided to teach him a lesson. Bowsy, you actually locked up my Yoko collection. I hate you, the puppet complained sadly. Just crack it yourself. Who told you to offend me? Bowsy ignored the puppet. People in the group started gossiping again. What does that guy Bowsy have to do with you? Ingfa asked about Bowsy. That person is my mother, Bowsy quickly replied. What? Exploded in the group. The puppet finally knows where he went wrong. So this is how I offended you, Bowsy. If I was wrong, please forgive me and tell me the code. The puppet cried and begged for mercy. Tianqing ignored the puppet's questions. By the way, everyone in the group, if someone wants to hire you to hurt my mother in the future, please give me all the information about the person who entrusted you. I will make them worse than death. Baozi became cold. Baozi, don't worry, we will never let anyone hurt your mother, everyone said. Thank you then. By the way, Piao Piao, I have found what you asked for and send it to the old place. You can pick it up yourself. Baozi thought of another thing. Thank you, Baozi. Pia Piao excitedly immediately logged off and went to the designated place to pick up the things. Yaohu, the thing you asked me to do last time has been completed and the money has been transferred to the account. Baozi was solving the previous work matters. Thank you. Yaohu drank coffee and looked at the message on the screen. Okay. Don't be angry, puppet. Don't you want the $10 million? I can help you, but you give me 2 days first. Baozi looked at the sulking puppet and decided to let him go. Really? Thank you, Baozi. The puppet returned to its normal state happily. At this moment, there was a knock on the door of the back room. Tianqing, don't play too late. You have to go to school tomorrow. It turns out that Eri came to remind Tianqing to rest. I'll let you know after the Kuei thing is done. I'll be off today first. After Baozi said that, he came down to chat in the group. On the morning of the third day, Tianqing dragged her exhausted body back to school. Tianqing, what happened to you? Ayumi asked with concern, looking at the tired Tianqing. After taking a look at Ayumi, Tianqing finally lay down. No, it's just that I haven't slept for 2 days, Tianqing said weakly. After a few days of getting along with each other, Tianqing's relationship with them improved a lot, so Tianqing slept from the first class to the third class. Finally, she couldn't bear it anymore, because she was called by name in every class, so he used his own small computer to join the group and let the hackers blow up the school's central server. As expected, the hacker worked quickly. In less than 10 minutes, the hacker blew up the school's server, so the school announced a 3-day holiday starting from the 4th period. It's fine and the holiday starts in the afternoon, why don't we go play, Ayumi invited. Tianqing looked at Ayumi with a pair of dark circles under her eyes. No, I haven't slept for 2 nights. I have to go home to catch up on my sleep. Tianqing left after saying that. She looks really tired. Conan concluded looking at Tianqing, who kept rubbing his eyes. You guys go and play, I have to go back and catch up on my sleep. Hybra also said hello to the others and left the school. Just when Tianqing returned home, she discovered that she had forgotten her key. I have no choice but to go to my mom's place first, Tianqing thought to herself. Office. Sister Ayama, is my mother here? Tianqing asked Miss Ayama. The teacher has gone out to meet a visitor, can you wait in her office first? Miss Ayama led Tianqing into Fei's office. Thank you very much, Sister Susan. After Tianqing said that, he came into the office. Susan watched Tianqing enter the office and then went to pour him a cup of tea. By the way, don't you have to go to school? Miss Ayama asked curiously, looking at Tianqing, who came to the office so early. The school gave us a 3-day holiday for some unknown reason. Tianqing spread her hands. Not long after, Tianqing had gone to the sofa and lay down. When Susan entered the office again, he saw Tianqing lying on the sofa and falling asleep, and the cat named Gulu was sleeping next to Tianqing. Miss Ariyama felt helpless when she saw Tianqing like this, so she went outside and took a blanket to cover Tianqing and then walked out of the office. At this time, Eri, who was meeting guests outside, also received a call from the school teacher to inform him about the holiday. After Eri finished meeting the guests, he called home, but no one answered. Then he called Tianqing, but still no one answered. At this time, Eri felt a little panicked. At this time, Eri returned home immediately, but there was no trace of Tianqing at home. Although Tianqing's real age is 17, he is now a 7-year-old child. It is already 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Eri's heart is getting more and more. I was so panicked that I finally called Asuma. Have you seen the sky clear, Ayama? Eri asked as calmly as possible. Teacher, the weather was fine and I came here before noon. I have been sleeping in your office and haven't woken up until now. Ayama replied to Feli. Thank you, Ayama, I'll be right back. Eri hung up the phone and drove to the office. Office. Is Ariyama Tenharu still inside? Eri asked anxiously. I can see Feli's impatience. She's been sleeping since noon and she hasn't come out yet. I can't get her up to eat at noon, Asuyama answered. Eri opened the office door and finally saw her sleeping daughter. At this moment Tianqing also woke up. Maybe he had slept for too long and almost fell down again when he sat up. Why are you so uneasy, kid? Eri hurriedly walked to Tianqing and hugged her up. Tianqing, who finally came back to his senses, looked at Miles hugging him and smiled. Why don't we go eat together, Ayama? You must be starving too, right? Eri picked up Tianqing. Then I won't be polite, teacher, Asuma said happily. A hotel. Teacher, I heard that lawyer Katsuyoshi has been invited to the guild for investigation, right? Abiyama asked about the news released on TV today. Leaking customer privacy is against the code. Eri calmly answered Ariyama's question. But he told the police that he wanted hackers to invade. Ayama was puzzled. Tianqing looked at the two people chatting. There is indeed a plan to confuse right and wrong. The hackers' $10 million is really worth it. Tianqing smiled. Kenai's affairs are very important. Who told him to frame Fei Miles? By the way, Tianqing, you'll have 3 days off tomorrow, right? If you want to go somewhere, I'll take you there. It's rare for Eri to put down her work. Didn't you take over the job? Tianqing looked at Fei puzzledly. Looking at Tianqing's questioning eyes. It's okay to take a day or two off. Eri smiled happily. Really? Then let's go to summer paradise, shall we? Tianqing's starry eyes came out. Then I'll listen to you. Eri stroked Tianqing's head. Mom, I love you so much, Tianqing coquettishly hugged Eri tightly. On the other hand, the puppet laughed and almost collapsed after receiving $800,000, while Tianqing also received $200,000. Chapter 3 Summer Paradise Murder Incident, Part 1. On the way to Summerland early the next morning, Tianqing sat in the back seat and looked at the miles of driving with disbelief. Mom, I didn't expect you to really agree. Miles glanced in the rearview mirror. Am I very dishonest to you? Miles raised his forehead. Tianqing thought for a while. After spending this time together, Mom, you give me the impression that you are a workaholic. Tianqing expressed her feelings without mercy. Miles felt really heartbroken when he heard his daughter's complaints. The entrance to summer paradise. Dad, why did it take so long to park the car? Xiaolan waited impatiently. Standing next to Xiaolan were Conan and several children from the junior detective team. It seems that college students are on vacation today, so it must be difficult to find a parking space because there are so many people here. Mitsuhiko looked around. Just then there was yelling and cursing from the other side. You think just apologizing is enough? Came a sharp female voice. Several people turned their heads to look in the direction of the sound. It's because you rushed out suddenly that I spilled my Coke. My handbag is something a high school student like you can't afford. Or should you pay for it with deferred payment? I saw a man wearing sunglasses and a handbag. A woman with long blonde hair pointed her finger at a woman with short hair and cursed. What's wrong with your clothes? The companion of the girl with short hair who was scolded quickly walked to the girl's side. The blonde woman looked at the people walking towards the girl. Are you her friends? At this time, the blonde woman's companion also walked up to the woman. She soiled Zero's favorite bag. Since we are friends, let's apologize together. The man who was traveling with him looked at Yui, who lowered his head. Kagoro finally parked the car. What are Xiaolan looking at? Kagoro came over. It's okay, let's go in. Seeing her father coming over, Xiaolan took everyone directly into the park. After entering the water park, Xiaolan dragged Kagoro towards the speed slide. Looking at the high-altitude slide, Kagoro wanted to escape. On the other side, Miles also lined up at the speed slide with Tianqing. Xiaoqing, aren't you afraid? Eri held her daughter's hand. Of course I'm not afraid, Mom, don't forget my original age, Xiaoqing said softly. On the other side, the young detective team is also lined up behind Xiaolan and the other two. Conan, are you afraid? Xiaolan asked with concern when she saw Conan and others coming over. I'm not afraid. I think it's Uncle who is afraid. Conan looked at Kagoro and snickered. You brat, are you talking nonsense? Kagoro punched Conan on the head. It hurt so much, Conan yelled, holding his head. Looking at Conan running around with his head in his hands, Xiaolan is making peace again. Conan, are you okay? Xiaolan stroked Conan's head. At this moment, a few customers in front of them retreated because they were afraid, so Xiaolan and the other two got in first. However, they saw an unexpected person. Mom, Xiaolan looked at Fei Lily, who was hugging Tianqing in shock. Xiaolan Eri was stunned for a moment. Muralin, my nominal sister, Tianqing looked at Muralin in front of her. Why are you here? Miles looked at several people in surprise. Looking at Miles in a bikini, Kagoro suddenly felt uncomfortable. I should ask you this question, Kagoro spoke up. Several members of the young detective team also discovered Tianqing being held in his arms. By the way, Tianqing, you are here too. Conan looked at the person in Fei's arms curiously. Fei Tianqing looked at the primary school student who was the god of death and gave him a blank look. Can't Mom and I come? Tianqing said and hugged Eri. What? Everyone was shocked, especially Muri Kagoro. At this moment, the water circle they were sitting on was pushed down. Screams of, ah, masked surprise. Finally reaching the end of the speed slide, everyone finally woke up in surprise. You stupid woman, tell me what happened to this child. Kagoro raised his head in tic-tac-toe. Fei Tianqing could only roll her eyes at Kagoro. You are very rude and a lecherous uncle. Fei Tianqing scolded him. Kagoro paused for a moment when he heard the words in this tone and thought of something. Little sister, what's your name? Xiaolan stepped forward to resolve the embarrassment. My name is Fei Tianqing. I am 7 years old and I am in the first grade of Daidan Elementary School. Tianqing said, pretending to be cute. When Xiaolan heard the surname Fei, she was filled with confusion and waited for Miles to explain. She is my child, Eri said directly. Follow me, Kagoro said, holding Tianqing in one hand and walking out, holding Miles in the other hand. Seeing this move, Kagoro Xiaolan hurriedly stopped her father. Dad, please tell me something. Xiaolan was a little anxious. Kagoro glanced at Xiaolan and ordered her to take a few little ghosts to play. He and Miles had something to talk about. But Xiaolan still wants to follow. Sister Xiaolan, let's go to the other side. Uncle probably just wants to chat with Auntie Miles. Conan clearly felt that Kagoro didn't want anyone to disturb them. Fei was held by Kagoro and had no way to break free, so she could only follow him. A no man's corner. What's the matter with you? Kagoro looked at Tianqing and then at Miles. Fei Tianqing shrugged. Discovered. Kagoro raised his forehead and looked at his youngest daughter. After a brief explanation, Kagoro also learned about Tianqing's situation and decided not to delve into it further. He knew everything he needed to know anyway. Not long after, Fei Lily came back, and Xiaolan couldn't wait to ask Lily about the origin of Tianqing. She was adopted by me, Eri told the public answer. Xiaolan breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Miles' answer. Then she is an orphan. Xiaolan looked at Tianqing, who was taking Kagoro to buy ice cream in the distance. Just then the two came back. We are back, Mom, give it to you. Xiaoqing came back with 2 snowballs. You're back. Eri took the ice cream from Tianqing. At this time, Conan also noticed the changes in Kagoro. Little sister, can I call you Tianqing? Xiaolan knelt down and looked at Tianqing. Okay, sister, what's your name? Why does Conan often act like a baby to you? Xiaoqing looked at Xiaolan pretending to be innocent. Xiaolan stroked Tianqing's head. My name is Muralin. By the way, you know Conan? Xiaolan greeted Tianqing in a friendly manner. After hearing Xiaolan's question, Conan and others also came over. We are classmates. Xiaolan noticed that the atmosphere between her parents was a bit strange. It's rare for our parents to meet us, let's go play together, Xiaolan suggested. Who wants to play with him, her, the two said in unison. Tianqing looked back at the two grudges, feeling extremely helpless. Mom, why don't you go play with me? Don't pay attention to that wretched uncle. Tianqing showed a malicious smile and came over to run away. Kagoro stared at Tianqing with wide eyes. What are you talking about, you little brat? A crossroads appeared above Kagoro's head. Seeing Kagoro who wanted to kill someone, Xiaolan ran out immediately. Dad, what do you want to do? Xiaolan saw Kagoro looking like he wanted to eat Xiaoqing and immediately stopped him. A pair of tearful eyes looked at Xiaolan. Sister Xiaolan, this uncle is so cruel. Xiaoqing said and hid behind Xiaolan. Dad, what did you do to Tianqing? Xiaolan immediately protected Tianqing. Seeing this, Miles hugged Tianqing angrily. Xiaoqing, let's ignore the strange old man here. Just then, there was a sudden scream from the other side of the swimming pool, and Kagoro and his group walked over. What happened? Kagoro and the others arrived. I saw the people who had an argument at the door once again surrounded the girl named Yi. It was this girl who killed Zero, said a friend who came with the deceased. It's not me, it's really not me. Yi kept waving his hands in denial. Not long after we arrived, Officer Magyar came with a group of people. The deceased's name is Senkira Ray, a medical student. Takagi handed the results to Officer Magyar after investigating. After reading Takagi's investigative records, Magyar turned to the deceased's friends. What is your name and what is your relationship with the deceased? Magyar asked the other 3 people who came with the deceased. My name is Chika Taiaya. I am also a medical student. Today, I, Yamagishi and Yamamoto were invited by Ray. Chika Taiaya was wearing a blue bikini and a red bath towel as she answered Officer Magyar's question. What did you just say about that girl killing Zero? Magyar looked at Chika D with sharp eyes. Then another person spoke. She and Zero just had a fight at the door. Officer Magyar looked at the other students. What are your names? Magyar asked the other 3 people. My name is Haruno Yui, and I am a sophomore at Fudo High School, Yui said. I'm Yolanda, and I'm also a sophomore at Fudo High School, Tatsuya said. I am Yoshida Masahiko, a second-year student at Fudo High School, Masahiko said. It is understood that Miss Yui and the deceased had a dispute. What was the matter? Officer Magyar asked. This girl is responsible for soiling Zero's handbag, Yamagishi said. Is this the case? Magyar asked. There is such a thing, but neither she nor I know what could kill her, Yui said excitedly. At this time, she felt aggrieved. Magyar looked at the deceased. You were the only one with the deceased at the time, and the murder weapon was also found under the swimming pool. Magyar looked at the scene and then looked at Haruno Yui again. During this time, Kagoro checked the waterbed to see if there was anything suspicious. At this moment, Conan discovered that the waterbed was leaking and had scratches from the razor. Just when Conan was about to check further, Takagi came over. Hey Conan, you can't mess around. Takagi looked at Conan, who wanted to check the evidence, and reminded him. I'm sorry, Conan smiled and walked away. How did you find the deceased? Magyar looked at everyone. I saw a woman falling asleep on the waterbed and floating out. There were 2 drinks on the bed. Then I bumped into the high school student, but I couldn't recognize it because it was too far away. Yamagishi said what he saw. Condition. Chapter 4 Summerland Murder Incident, Part 2. In Summer Paradise. I think the most likely murderer is you, Yamagishi. De Qianhua Film and Television. Yamagishi is suspected of murder. After hearing this, several people looked at Yamagishi. Chika, please don't slander me. I'm quietly arranging the umbrella in the back because I have already decided to work in his father's hospital, so I really have no reason to kill her. Yamagishi said and looked at the other person as if remembered something. To be honest, Yoshinori should be more suspicious than me. There are rumors that that kid wanted to date a girl from the first-year swimming club. As a result, Zero was unhappy and the matter of working upside down might be ruined. Yamagishi looked at him with evil intentions. Another man with short hair. When Yoshinomoto heard Yamagishi mention him, he directly refuted it. It happened to be my break time and I walked towards the restaurant. The last time I saw Zero was when she said she felt uncomfortable and walked towards the lounge. Yoshinomoto looked at Officer Magyar. Then continue your words. Also, the quarrels with that high school student were commonplace. Ray, that person would trample on people whenever she didn't like her. Anyway, I didn't kill Ray, Yoshinomoto said in defense and became more and more excited. If someone wants to kill her, it must be Yamagishi. That kid's father works in Zero's father's hospital because he wants to be his bedmate and son-in-law, so he wants to give gifts to Zero from time to time, but Zero doesn't take him seriously at all. Lee Sijibun points the finger at Yamagishi. Watching several people shirk each other, Kagoro walked to Magyar's side. It's already been a ghost fight before it even starts, Kagoro said softly. Takagi came out to stop a few people from arguing. Then what were you doing? Takagi looked at Dee. I was about to climb up the facility. Then I heard the high school students cry. I looked back and was startled. I immediately ran over to look at Zero and found that she was out of breath, Dee said. We were just chatting at the exit, and we didn't see anyone coming in or out. Eri walked up to Kagoro. That's weird, Conan mused. Magyar heard Conan whisper and turned to look at him. What's weird? Conan looked at Officer Magyar. Think about it, 2 500cc drinks add up to a total of 1 liter. Would a girl who was not feeling well and wanted to go to the lounge drink a liter of Coke by herself? Conan questioned. Yes, it's definitely weird. Officer Magyar thought deeply. Just then Xiaoqing seemed to have discovered something. Mom, this sister is so strange. She doesn't seem to be here to swim, Xiaoqing said innocently. Miles turned around and looked at the clear sky. Why did you say that? Eri was confused. If she wants to come swimming, she needs to have a change of clothes. Where are her clothes? Didn't Officer Magyar take photos of all her belongings? Xiaoqing continued to remind her innocently. When prompted, Magyar can directly view the photo you just took. Yes, there is no change of clothes in her things. Officer Magyar also found something suspicious. At this time, a police officer handed the autopsy report to Officer Magyar. There were sleeping pills remaining in the deceased's body, Officer Magyar said after reading the report in his hand. After hearing the conclusion, Conan looked at the 3 people who came with Zero. The murderer is among those 3 people. But by what method? Conan pondered as he looked at the evidence in front of him. After checking all the items on site, Tianqing has already come to a conclusion. Mom, we seem to still have the frozen pellets we bought yesterday in the freezer at home, right? Those pellets can only be eaten after being heated in the microwave. Tianqing now sent a reminder to Conan. In a flash of lightning, Conan has connected everything. I know what method the murderer used, and the next step is to verify some things. After verification, Conan found a place to cover up and injected an anesthetic needle into Kagoro. Officer Magyar, I already know the method of killing and who the culprit is. Kagoro is controlled by Conan again. Do you suspect that the murderer is among us? Yamagishi heard about the case of sleeping Kagoro. Yes, the murderer is among the three of you. Kagoro continued to reason. Don't say something incomprehensible. We were all working when Zero was killed. It's impossible to go to the swimming pool to kill someone. Yamagishi stared at Muri Kagoro. Kagoro ignored Yamagishi's continued reasoning. The murderer's real purpose was to make people think that no one could kill her at that time. Kagoro answered Yamagishi's question. What? Everyone asked. Officer Magyar was confused when he heard Kagoro's answer. What did Brother Muri do as a murderer? All three of you saw Senkichi feeling unwell and leaving to go to the lounge, right? But who was with her from then until she was killed on the rubber stamp? Kagoro asked several people. I didn't, Yamagishi said. I haven't met her either, Dee also said. Me too, the Four Origins. This is strange. A person like her who has a group of people around her to follow her around no matter what happens. Doesn't it seem weird to you that she quietly got on a rubber boat without notifying anyone? Kagoro asked in return Yamagishi et al. Magyar was confused. What the hell is going on? Magyar looked at Kagoro. That's a bit of it, said Shinimoto. If it were her, she would definitely give orders in the east and west when she got on the ship. Yamagishi also recalled the past. In addition, Kiyoshi has no intention of swimming at all. Kagoro continued his analysis. Who is that? Magyar is still confused. Actually, the thing is like this. The murderer who planned to kill Kira Ray added sleeping pills to the drink she drank in advance. When the drug took effect, she started to feel noisy uncontrollably, so it was natural for her to go to the employee lounge to rest, because it is all your employees in the lounge, so even if the murderer doesn't speak, you will shout. Shinji's habit is that she doesn't like to be approached when hypoglycemia occurs. The murderer knows this very well. Things are just as the murderer expected. She walked into the restroom alone. After entering the room, he immediately fell into a comatose state. While the drug was taking effect, the murderer secretly sneaked into the lounge and used a prepared syringe to draw a liter of blood from the sleeping Shinji. When the murderer finished drawing the blood, he dragged her into the bathroom and slit her throat with a razor. After killing her, he washed the blood with water, put the body on a rubber stand, and put the previous liter of blood into two 500 cubic centimeters drinking cups, and then pushed Shinji out of the waterway exit. Kagoro said analytically. Wouldn't the previous blood be suspicious? Yamagishi was puzzled. I think the murderer added something to the blood, and putting the unsuspected blood in a cup was the key point of the plot. The murderer put the prepositioned Shinji in the waterway, and during the rest period after checking the water quality after the end, when there are no guests, poke a small hole in the rubber boat. Since the hole is small, the air leakage is much slower, so it will take a while before it will tip over due to overload, so 1 liter the blood just spread out in the water. Seeing this scene, everyone will think that someone killed someone on the spot. Do you understand what I mean? Kagoro analyzed the crime process. What does that mean? Everyone still doesn't understand. Faye Miles could clearly hear the clues. That's preconception. Eri has already heard the clues. That is to say, the murderer wanted to identify the person and believed that when the blood spread, it was the time of the crime. The murderer used this blind spot. Magyar finally understood. The murder weapon at the bottom of the pool was just put on the rubber boat in advance and thrown at the bottom of the pool when the boat capsized, Kagoro explained. Brother Muri, who is the murderer? Magyar continued to ask. Muri Kagoro did not answer Officer Magyar's questions. The trick was to successfully trick the victim into taking a rest. What followed was an almost seamless and complete crime. However, I didn't expect that the victim was erratic, and instead clearly pointed out the true face of the criminal. If I remember correctly, you are here when I persuaded her to take off her earrings and other things. She seemed very angry. She also told you not to talk too much. She did this just because she wanted to. She just came here to show off these famous brands. She had no intention of getting involved from the beginning to the end. That's why she didn't bring a change of clothes, but the jewelry and watches that she should have brought with her were actually found in her locker. However, that locker requires an electronic lock and requires you to set a password. But why would the prisoner know the password? Kagoro asked again. Is that time, Sinamoto seemed to notice. That's right, it was the announcement at that time. Kagoro gave a clear goal. What announcement? Megure was puzzled. Is this the announcement that the owner of XX should ask you to drive away because your car is blocking traffic? Could it be that the murderer is? Yamagishi clearly felt something. Conan, who was hiding somewhere, smiled and continued the process. Yes, the murderer is you, Miss Chika Ino. Kagoro clearly pointed out the murderer. Chika, why are you? Yamagishi didn't understand why she did this. Muri Kagoro ignores everyone's thoughts and continues his analysis. When you saw Zero's watch and jewelry, you thought you had to put those things back in the locker after killing her, so you saw the secret of her locker while helping her drive away. It's a pity that your bad luck proves irrefutable evidence that you are the murderer, Kagoro said. Di Qianhua lowered her head and clenched her fists with a look of dissatisfaction. What you said is absolutely correct. I killed Zero, Qianhua admitted. Why Qianhua, Sijibin is very confused. I was caught by that woman and my feet hurt, Qianhua said sadly. A year ago, I bought the entrance exam questions I accidentally got because I couldn't pay my tuition. At that time, my father owed a huge sum of money due to gambling debts, so he ran away with another woman. My family was completely destitute, regardless of the tuition fees. No matter what, I had to earn it on my own, but that matter was vaguely known to Zero, and she kept threatening me and calling me like a maid. What was even worse was that she asked me to take the exam for her. Each person only has one chance to take the exam. If she is found out, she will be expelled from school. Needless to say, she will not be able to get a doctor's license in the future, so I want to get rid of her. Qianhua said fiercely. Just when Qianhua was taken away by Officer Megure. There is nothing that cannot be solved. Since you have chosen the path of being a doctor, you should save countless lives instead of being a judge who deprives other people of their lives. Xiaoqing's voice faintly reached Qianhua's ears. Chapter 5 Secret Murderous Intention. After returning home from the summer paradise, I returned to my room on a sunny day. Bird and Beast Concentration Camp. What happened to the matter I asked you to investigate, Ing? Tianqing asked about the task assigned to Ing before. At this time, in the study room of a certain villa, a young man in pajamas was sitting at his desk and looking at the data that the computer had sent back in the morning. It turns out that woman has a lot of background. She is the president of XX Group and her only son also died in a car accident 2 years ago. Ing said while giving the information he found to Tianqing. She is still talking to your mother about custody. There must be something wrong with her. Shadow analyzed what he found. Tianqing looked at the information and pondered for a while. Ing took a sip of water and continued to report what he found. Her husband's name is Yoshikawa Motoyasu. He was sentenced to 20 years for murder 2 years ago, and his son also caused a car accident after chasing the prisoner's car. I don't understand when I hear it's sunny here. What does that have to do with my mother? Tianqing drank the tea in her hand. Fei Li is the other party's lawyer, and it was the strong evidence she pointed out that proved Yoshikawa's murder charge was established, the film said. After hearing Ying's investigation, Tianqing seemed to understand something. I understand. Ying continues to help me investigate her current situation. Tianqing explained the matter and exited the chat. Tianqing looked at the night outside the window. This woman seems to be starting to take action, Tianqing thought to herself. At this time there was a knock on the door. Have you slept in, Tianqing? Aries' voice came. Tianqing takes back his thoughts. No, Tianqing turned off the monitor and went to open the door. Faye Miles, with a towel on her head, was seen standing outside the door. Mom, how are you doing with the custody matter? Tianqing invited Faye Miles to sit down in the room. That person made an appointment with me to go to her house on Monday to talk about things and see her children. Aerie let Tianqing take her towel and help her dry her hair. Are you the only one going? Tianqing asked worriedly. It's comforting to see my daughter worry about her Miles. I'm not taking Ariyama with me. Aerie directly hugged Tianqing in her arms. Tianqing raised his head. By the way, Mom, did you receive a murder case 2 years ago and the murderer was Yoshikawa Motoyasu? Tianqing asked Miles. Are you well informed? It was a case of home invasion, robbery and murder. Our plaintiff was seriously injured and the plaintiff's wife died of her injuries. In the end, Yoshikawa Motoyasu arrested him while he was on the run. In the end, because I pointed out the evidence thus found the weapon he used to kill. He was imprisoned for 20 years and the plaintiff also died in a car accident 6 months ago. Aerie recalled the case. What do you call a dead person? Tianqing turned to look at Miles. Faye thought about it for a moment. Why are you calling Aso Jiro? Aerie rubbed her daughter's head in confusion. This furry feeling is so comfortable. Nothing, Tianqing enjoys this feeling. It's very late now, you should take a shower. I still have documents to look at, so you don't want to be too late, okay? Aerie said and left Tianqing's room. Farewell Faye Miles. Tianqing turned on the computer again. Ing helps me check up on another person. I sent you the name and some information. Tianqingfa sent the information just obtained from Faye Miles to Ing again. At this time, a message suddenly appeared in the group. By the way, TK is coming to Japan on Monday, Ing, you should treat him well. Pia Piao suddenly appeared. After seeing the news, the two decisively joined the group chat. Then Pia Piao, why don't you come? Ing typed quickly. Far away on the rooftop of a building in London, there was a woman with long black hair wearing tights looking at the light in the distance. I have something to do in London. I will arrive a week late. Pia Piao stood on the roof of the building, waiting for notification of the next step. I really envy you too, Tianqing sighed. By the way, you must come out when the buns arrive. The man named TK also appeared. As a child, I was not allowed to go out on the street at night. Tianqing smiled. If I don't scare you to death when I come out, I will take your last name. Don't pretend to be naive. Everyone didn't believe it because everyone in this group had known each other for 10 years. Am I really a child? Why don't you believe me? Tianqing made an innocent expression. Because she was really only 7 years old when she met the people in the group. By the way, Baozi, how old are you? The puppet asked everyone's question. My name is Baozi and I am 7 years old this year, Tianqing said with peace of mind. If you were 7 years old, I would be a 1,000-year-old monster. The puppet was unconvinced. Ha ha ha, everyone laughed. Tianqing showed a wicked smile. You won't be able to laugh anymore when you see me, Tianqing thought to herself. Not long after, Shuying sent a private message to Tianqing. Baozi, I helped you find out that the woman's child was hit and killed on May 5, 2 years ago. I hope this information can help you. I also helped you find the video of the Yoshikawa car accident. I asked the hacker to help. Steal it. The hacker will contact you later. I downloaded it beforehand. Ing said and disappeared. After reading the information, Tianqing thought for a while. Wait a minute, isn't next Monday May 5th? So she's started to take action. I will never let her hurt my mother. Tianqing's heart suddenly shook and she immediately thought of countermeasures. So it's Monday. Early in the morning, Aerie drove Tianqing back to school, but on the way Tianqing discovered that a car had been following them. It's interesting to finally start taking action, Tianqing said softly. What did you say? Eri heard Tianqing's muttering. No more. Tianqing covered it up with a smile. The car finally stopped in front of Daidan Primary School. Mom, I'm going to school. Tianqing got out of the car. At this time, Conan and others walked towards Miles. Good morning, Auntie, Conan greeted Fei. Miles turned to look at Conan. Good morning, Conan. Please take care of Tianqing, and Tianqing's mother will personally cook for you tonight, okay? Eri said happily, completely unaware of Tianqing's petrified state and Conan's sympathetic eyes. Mom, please be careful on the road. After Tianqing said this, she watched Eri drive away. At this time, Conan looked at Tianqing with sympathy, while Tianqing stared at the direction of the car with a serious face. Tianqing, let's go in together. Ayumi came over. I'll go to the bathroom first, Tianqing said and slipped away. In a corner of the campus, Tianqing took out his microcomputer and joined the group chat. The operation has begun, Demon Fox, your medicine has no side effects, right? Tianqing confirmed again. Don't worry, this medicine will naturally wake you up after 2 days without an antidote. Its characteristics are just like allergies. The Demon Fox was sitting in his office in a white coat and looking at the computer. Has the anonymous letter Piao Piao been sent? Tianqing asked another person. I have placed it at the door of the XX police station. It also contains the bomb trading information stolen by the puppet. Don't worry, Piao Piao replied to Tianqing's inquiry. Tianqing breathed a sigh of relief after seeing that everything was arranged properly. I'll leave it to you, hackers and puppets. You're going to capture the transportation network and cause traffic chaos in 2 minutes. The Xingxinzian subway will leave it to you, Tianqing ordered. No problem, the battle to protect Baozi's mother will begin immediately, everyone said. Seeing the barrage filling the screen, Tianqing has black lines all over his head. Hey, Tianqing looked helpless. Anyway, Baozi is here to thank everyone. After Tianqing said that, he went offline directly. Tianqing took out the pill sent by Demon Fox and took it without thinking. Soon her body started to flush. Just when she was about to return to the classroom, she bumped into Teacher Xiaolin, who was about to come to the classroom for class. Teacher Xiaolin, she fell down before she could say the good word. Teacher Xiaolin was shocked by this unexpected situation. Concubine, what's wrong with you? Wake up, concubine. Teacher Xiaolin's voice attracted the attention of the students in the class. Teacher Xiaolin, Conan rushed out. Hybra AI looked at Tianqing's red arms and immediately became interested. Teacher Xiaolin, she seems to be allergic. We need to send her to the hospital quickly. Hybra concluded. Here reminders from Hybra AI. Good students, you are studying in class. I will send my classmate Fei to the hospital. After saying this, Teacher Xiaolin picked up Tianqing and walked out of the teaching building. On the other side, Eri's car is stuck in the middle of the road. What's going on today? Fei Mili looked puzzled at the traffic flow on the entire road. Just then Eri's phone rang. I'm Kisaki Eri, Eri asked directly. Hello, are you Fei Tianqing's parent? After sending Tianqing to the hospital, Teacher Xiaolin immediately called Fei Miles. I am Eri didn't read the prompt, so she didn't know it was Teacher Xiaolin who called her. Hello, I am Tianqing's class teacher Xiaolin. My classmate Fei suddenly fainted in front of the classroom door and is now being rescued in the hospital. Please come to Daidan Hospital as soon as possible. Teacher Xiaolin said the situation. The fairy tale on the phone is not over yet. Fei Miles suddenly breaks. What did you say? Eri panicked. Tianqing fainted at school and is now being treated at Daidan Hospital, Teacher Xiaolin said again. Hearing the news again, Miles calmed down. I'll be right over, Eri said and hung up the phone. Seeing the panicked Fei Susan, she was a little worried. What happened to the teacher? Ariyama asked with concern. The weather calmed down. Tianqing suddenly fainted. Now I'm going to Daidan Hospital for rescue. Mrs. Susan Yinshuan helped me change my schedule. I'm going to the hospital right now. After Eri said that, the car changed the road and drove towards Daidan Hospital. Daidan Hospital. Teacher, how is the weather? Eri hurriedly walked to Teacher Xiaolin. Teacher Xiaolin stood up as he watched Fai Lili hurried over. Tianqing suddenly fainted just now and developed allergic symptoms in her hands and feet. She is still being treated inside, said Teacher Xiaolin. At this moment, a call came from the emergency room. Please Dr. Tingjing phone, please come to the number 1 emergency room. The announcement in the emergency room asked for someone. Yinshuan? Kagoro stared at Officer Magyar with puzzled eyes. Officer Magyar sighed. That's just superficial evidence and it's in vain for her to not plead guilty after arresting her, the Memiku police officer explained. Now we can only wait for her to take action again. Officer Sadu said the next action. You want Eri to be used as bait, you must not do this. Kagoro was the first to object. Seeing such a big reaction, Muri Kagoro Magyar was a little embarrassed. Brother Muri, this is also for the future safety of the concubine, the lawyer and the child. We can only use this method, the screenwriter explained to Muri Kagoro. Faye Miles thought about it after hearing what Officer Magyar did. Officer Memiku, I agree with your method. Eri spoke. Eri, you are crazy. Kagoro heard Miles' reply and immediately stopped him. This is my decision, Eri said. Looking at Kagoro, who is so nervous about herself, her heart feels sweet, because Kagoro is still caring about her. At this time Tingjing came out. The child has been examined. You can go in and see her. Tingjing walked out of the ward. Thank you, Dr. Tingjing. Eri thanked her and went directly into the room. What happened to that kid? Kagoro asked with concern. Miles glanced at the man next to him and gave him a roll of his eyes. It's just an allergy. Fortunately, I was sent to the hospital in time. Eri breathed a sigh of relief. Lawyer Fei, I think your firm should take a temporary break and wait until the case is closed before reopening. This can also ensure your safety, said Officer Memiku. Miles thought about it and looked at the ward again. That's fine. I'll just take it as a long vacation. Eri accepted the proposal from Inspector Memiku. In the ward. Tianqing, how are you feeling? Eri walked up to Tianqing. I'm fine now, I'm sorry for making you worry, Tianqing comforted Miles. Why are you suddenly allergic? Eri asked worriedly. Tianqing thought for a while. I accidentally got it on when passing by the school garden. Tianqing smiled. Be careful in the future. Your teacher just called me to say you were in a coma. It really scared me to death. Eri's voice was a little shaky. Tianqing knew that what just happened really scared Eri. Mom's law firm will be on vacation tomorrow. How about I personally cook for you from tomorrow on? Eri nodded Tianqing's forehead. When I heard this, the sky turned to stone, and my face became a little pale. Looking at Tianqing's pale face, Kagoro gave Miles a roll of his eyes. I think you want to kill this kid. Kagoro clearly saw Tianqing's SOS. Hearing Kagoro's blow, Miles' temper came up. What did you say, old pervert? A crossroads appeared on Eri's head. The scolding between the two is about to begin. By the way, I just heard your conversation. Officer Memiku, do you want to use my mother as bait? Now Tianqing's tone does not sound like a 7-year-old child. The two who were about to scold immediately calmed down. We guarantee your mother's safety, Officer Memiku said. What guarantee do you have? Tianqing's eyes showed a hint of murderous intent. Magyar had nothing to say after hearing this. Mom, I'm fine. Can you help me get discharged from the hospital? Tianqing looked at Miles with pitiful eyes. No, you have to stay here and observe tonight. Eri didn't look at Tianqing. Mom, I can really be discharged from the hospital. If you don't believe me, ask the doctor, brother. Tianqing shook Aries' hand. Seeing such a daughter, concubine Miles compromised. Okay, I'll ask for you. If the doctor says no, you have to stay, you know? Aerie looked at her daughter seriously. Then Officer Magyar and Officer Takagi will go with you. Officer Takagi, listen carefully. If you lie, you will never catch Officer Sato, because I will introduce a rich and handsome guy to Officer Sato. Tianqing said with a warning look. Looking at Takagi. Hey kid, you can't hurt me like this. Officer Takagi smiled and looked at Lawyer Xiang Fei. Okay, you ghost. I'm going to help you ask now. Aerie was about to go out. After hearing Tianqing's explanation, Officer Magyar turned around and looked at Sato. Sato, please go home and pack your clothes now. We will pick you up later and then you and the lawyer will go home together. After saying this, Magyar left the ward with Takagi and Aerie. Officer Sato, you go pack your things first, as long as I'm here, Kagoro said. Then I'll go back first, Sato said and left the ward. Old man, why don't you take this opportunity to take my mother home? Tianqing was puzzled. Muri Kagoro thought for a moment. Something happened to me recently. A prisoner I captured before escaped from prison and wanted to take revenge on me. I still haven't found out what he wanted to do. If I take Aerie back now, she will definitely be put in danger. She is much safer now that Sato and you are protecting her. Kagoro no longer acted carelessly. Tianqing glanced at Kagoro. Mom, don't worry, I won't let Yinchuan succeed. Instead, you have to be careful. Tianqing was concerned about Kagoro. After this topic is over. Is there any news over there recently? Tianqing asked about another matter. After hearing Tianqing's question, Kagoro also became serious. Without them it seems like they have stopped since your death, Kagoro said what he knew. Perhaps they are planning a bigger event. Tianqing analyzed the current situation. Kagoro glanced out the window. I really want it to end soon, Kagoro sighed with emotion. When it's really over, the separation between you and your mother should be over, Tianqing joked to her old man. After hearing Tianqing's words, Muri Kagoro turned red and looked away. That little guy in your family doesn't seem to know that you already know his identity, Tianqing asked. Actually, a month after he came to our house, I already guessed who he was, but he didn't know that we were already immune to all the anesthetics. Also, now that he helps me solve the case, I feel a lot more relaxed. Money income ha, Kagoro smiled evilly. What a cunning old man, Tianqing was speechless. What are you talking about, you little brat? Kagoro said as he pulled the air from the bed. Just then, Miles completed the formalities and entered the ward. Husband, what do you want to do to my Tianqing? At this time, Aerie pushed the door open and walked in. Aerie, Kagoro was frightened. Mom, this weird uncle is so scary. Tianqing looked at Aerie with tearful eyes. Okay, the doctor has discharged you. Aerie looked at the two people in front of her and was at a loss. Okay, long live Mom, Tianqing hugged Aerie happily. I saw Dr. Tingjing before leaving the hospital. Tianqing said goodbye to the doctor brother. Aerie stroked her daughter's head. Bye-bye, doctor, Tianqing said and secretly made a phone call gesture. Aerie's house. Let me take a look at the environment of your home first. Sato looked at Miles' house. Can you drink tea or juice? Aerie walked to the refrigerator. Just tea. Sato looked around all the rooms. Looking at Sato who has finished his inspection. Officer Sato, please sleep with my mother tonight, Tianqing said. Tianqing, what are you going to do? I'm not worried about you alone. Aerie is only worried about the little guy in front of her now. Mom, don't worry, I will be fine. Just let Officer Sato protect you. After Tianqing said that, she returned to her room. Bird and Beast Concentration Camp. Wow Bowsy, it turns out you are really Bowsy, Pia Piao suddenly appeared. Is it true? Others don't believe it. This is what the real demon fox saw with his own eyes. It seems that Bowsy fainted and was sent to the hospital where the demon fox communicated, TK continued. That means the demon fox broke the news, Luo, there was a strong murderous aura behind Bowsy. At this time, the demon fox who was having a meeting in the hospital suddenly felt a cold feeling on his back. There is a sense of ominousness. The demon fox felt cold and already guessed what was going on. Bowsy was angry. We'll talk about my business later. I have to do my business now. Tianqing left after saying that. At this time, Tianqing opened another interface and entered incomprehensible instructions. Soon after, all camera images within a 10-mile radius of his home appeared on Tianqing's computer. She can't do it today, that guy won't give up. Tianqing kept looking at the surveillance camera. At this time, the picture on the other side. Damn it, Kisaki Eri let you escape today. I will definitely send you to hell next time, the woman named Yinshuan said with a ferocious face. What can Imura do? I must kill Kisaki Eri. Yinshuan looked ferocious. Miss, do you know an organization called Ming? Imura gave an answer. Is it that organization that will kill even your own relatives as long as you can afford it? Yinshuan asked. That's right, it's that organization. As long as you can afford it, Miss, Kisaki Eri won't survive this week, Imura replied to Yinshuan. Yinshuan agreed directly without even thinking about it. Please help me find them and tell them that I am willing to pay 10 million to kill Kisaki Eri, Yinshuan said fiercely. Yes, Imura said and then left. Eri and Sada slept well that night, but Qingqing stayed up all night. The next morning, Qingqing went to school with panda eyes. Unexpectedly, before the second class ended, Tianqing received a call from Tingjing saying that Eri and Sadu were assassinated in the mall, and Eri was sent to the hospital after ordering the goods. Hearing this, Tianqing stopped attending class. He rushed out of the classroom directly. Classmate Fei, teacher Xiaolin called from behind Tianqing. Hospital. How is my mother? Tianqing suddenly rushed into the crowd. Everyone was shocked and they saw Fei Tianqing rushing in with a pale face. Tianqing, aren't you in school? Eri softened her heart when she saw her daughter, who was sweating profusely and with fright in her eyes. At this time, Tianqing saw Eri sitting in a wheelchair with only her ankle scratched by a bullet, and she breathed a sigh of relief. Officer Memiku knows who did it? Kagoro asked worriedly. Based on the crime style at the scene, it is most likely the organization called Ming. According to Officer Sada's report, the man who committed the crime seemed to have received a phone call before giving up on shooting the concubine, lawyer, and the others. Officer Memiku said it was strange. Said. After hearing Megir's explanation, Kagoro was puzzled. That's strange. As long as that organization receives money, it will do whatever it takes to achieve its goal. Takagi looked at the interview survey in his hand. Will they attack Eri again? Kagoro looked at the man in the wheelchair worriedly. At this time, Tianqing secretly left the sight of others and retreated to Tingjing's side. Telling if he gives me a reasonable explanation, otherwise I will let him know what an angry bun is. Tianqing's cold voice came into Tingjing's ears. Seeing the murderous Tianqing and Tingjing phone, he felt sympathy for Ing Sansui in his heart. I understand, Baozi, don't worry, and your mother's injuries will be fine as long as they don't take up water, Tingjing confessed. After seeing a few people talking, the sky cleared up and returned to normal. Thank you, doctor, Tianqing said and returned to Eri. I'm asking Inspector Memiku to see if he can send another person to protect Eri for the time being. Kagoro spoke. Don't you want me to go home? If you ask me to go home at this time, I will definitely go back with you. Eri looked at Kagoro and felt depressed. Eri's disappointed look was noticed by Tianqing, and of course this look could not escape Kagoro, but Kagoro could only say sorry silently in his heart, because he did not want to involve Eri. In the next duel, he could only pretend not to care. Chapter 6 Baozi's Revenge, Part 1. A certain bass actor on this island suddenly felt a cool breeze behind him, but his eyes were fixed on the group of people below. Didn't I issue an order? We won't accept any tasks related to Kisaki Eri. Who is so bold to take over this business? Ing asked Ming's senior staff. Shadow, his original name is Kuroda Qingyang, who is the behind-the-scenes boss that rules the underworld organization on the island. However, all the underworld transactions on the internet are controlled by the concubine Tianqing known as Baozi, which allows Kuroda to become a powerful Japanese underworld boss, but this secret is only a few people in the group know. I'm sorry, a member of our team picked it up privately, because I didn't know the target was that person at the time. He only told me that his friend entrusted him to handle the matter. Later, after reports from other members, I found out that his so-called friend wanted to handle it. The person is the lawyer Fei. When I found out, I immediately asked the members performing the task to evacuate immediately, but I still accidentally injured her, the senior manager reported. After hearing the report from his subordinates, Ying's face darkened to the bottom of his heart. Jia, what is the name of the person who carried out the execution privately? Bring him and I have to give an explanation to someone. Ing knocked on the table lightly. Just after Ing finished giving instructions, the short-haired man named Jia knelt directly in front of Ing. Brother, can you let him live? He is my younger brother. The man named Jia knelt in front of Ing and kowtowed repeatedly. Looking at his men kneeling on the ground begging for mercy, he could only sigh. How long have you been with me, Jia? Ing didn't answer but asked the kneeling man. It's been 10 years, I dare not watch the movie. You know, your brother crossed the line this time. If I can't give her an explanation, I'm afraid Jean will die even more tragically. Ing patted Jia on the shoulder. In fact, after he heard what Ting Jing said, he knew that Baozi was going crazy. Even if Ing didn't hand over the person, he would have a way to find that person. Seeing the look on his boss's face, he already knew how much trouble his brother had caused this time. Boss Ing, please let him go, please let my brother go. We are all your brothers. How could you let your brother die? Jia suddenly said. I'm sorry, Zero. Bring Jean up. Shadow's voice became cold. Soon after, Jean was brought in. If you don't kneel down and beg brother to save you, Jean, it's your own actions that got you into trouble. Jia pulled Jean over. Jean is a man with long blonde hair. Didn't I tell you not to accept anything related to Kisaki Eri? Ing stared closely at the person who called Jean. While waiting for a reply, Ying's dedicated phone rang. This number was only used to communicate with people in the group. Ing saw that it was an unknown caller, so he thought about it and answered it because the person calling the phone must be from the group. Man, his phone is set up with a security system that specifies answers, and this system is the work of Baozi Boring. Hey, that one, Ing was confused. How is Ing doing? A child's voice came into Ying's ears. Hearing the voice of a child coming from the phone, Ing was a little dazed. Who are you? Ing heard the voice as if he had seen a ghost, although he had heard the story of the demon fox. Ing, you are so forgetful. I am the angry bun that the demon fox mentioned. Now the number of crossroads on Tianqing's head has begun to increase. What are you kidding? Ing was shocked. How about I blow up your new security system right now before you believe it? Baozi's voice became even more gloomy. After hearing Tianqing's words, Ing immediately gave in. You must know that the price of a final defense security system is tens of millions of dollars. No, you must not, I don't have the money to replace it, Ing said flatteringly. What's going on? Tianqing stopped talking nonsense. Glancing at the person kneeling on the ground. I'm interrogating now. Inya changed his shocked expression just now. Because he knew that if he joked with Baozi again, he would not get any good results. If you don't mind turning on the loudspeaker, I'll listen to his explanation. Tianqing's cold tone penetrated Ying's heart. Good, movie turned on the speaker. Please tell me why. Ing put the phone on the table. The person who called Jean stared at the film unconvinced. Don't our organization always operate according to the principle of collecting money to do things? As long as we have money, we can kill our own relatives, Jin shouted. After hearing Jin's words, Ing raised his forehead. Then there are people in the organization who strictly abide by and obey my orders. What will happen if you break the rules? Ing expressionless, not wanting to argue with him anymore. Jin lowered his head. I didn't mean to violate the rules, I just need money. My man said he would give me 10 million as long as he kills Kisaki Eri, said Shin. Just then there was a loud noise from the other end of the phone. What a tragedy, Baozi is so angry. Ing started to sweat in his heart. What's going on with you? Tell me if you're short of money. Jia asked his brother. Looking at the world endlessly. Is it useful to tell you? Xiaoxuan must have an operation this time because of a recurrence of heart disease. The operation fee will be 5 million. How can we earn so much money from the business we usually do? Later, my friend found out that I was in the underworld. The person also knew that I needed money, so he introduced me to another person, and that person told me that as long as I killed Kisaki Eri, I could get 10 million and live a new life abroad with my girlfriend. Jin said crazily. I heard the outline of the incident and knew what it was about. So you took a few people to ambush her. Fortunately, Jia went to the scene to take you away. If that person died, I'm afraid all of us would have to be buried with you, Ing said. I don't care how many people die as long as I can save Xiaoxuan, went crazy. Come in, everyone here shouted together. Brother Shadow, as long as you let me kill Kisaki Eri, after I safely send Xiaoxuan away for surgery, I am willing to accept any punishment, even if I die, Shin suddenly knelt down and begged. Do you think you will have a chance? A murderous child's voice reached everyone's ears. Who are you? Asked the question. Who asked you to kill Kisaki Eri, Susumu Ito? Tianqing's voice was like a demon from hell. You stinky kid, what does mine have to do with you? Susumu Ito said. At this moment, a large picture suddenly appeared on the big screen in the studio. A girl with long brown hair appeared on the screen. The girl looked only 7 years old, but the murderous intent she showed could definitely make this scene even more terrifying. Who is it? Baozi's voice sounded like it was coming from hell. You are a steamed stuffed bun, actor stares at the screen. We finally meet Ing. Yes, I am Baozi and Yao Hu and I have already met. Tianqing calmed down her murderous aura. I won't say it, Ito Jin said firmly. Oh really, it seems that I have to take Kota Kaoru out for a walk, but I heard that she has a heart problem. If I put her next to a group of men who have been hungry for a long time, she might not be frightened. Until the heart attack relapses. Baozi now shows a murderous smile. What do you want to do to Xiaoxuan? Ito Jin was horrified when he saw this devilish child. I'm just asking you to tell me or not. Tianqing said in a cold tone again. Ito Jin fell silent. Not long after, Tianqing released a real-time surveillance screen again. In it, a girl with long hair in a white dress was chatting and laughing with a strange woman next to her. Xiao Kaoru Ito Susumu recognized the girl in the picture. Tianqing stared at Ito Jin's movements and planned to see what he would choose. Where they go next depends on your choice. Tianqing picked up the milk next to her and drank it. I said it was a woman named Yinshuan. She was the one who wanted to sell Kisaki Eri for 10 million. Can you let Xiaosun go now? Ito Shin finally revealed the person behind the scenes. Tianqing smiles. You're still running away from someone. You haven't told the man who invited you yet? Tianqing continued to ask. Ito Jin lowered his head. That man's name is Imura Hidekiol. He has a wife and 2 children in elementary school, Shin said. I'm very satisfied with your answer. It matches the information I found. Tianqing held the information in front of the screen. Then can you let Kaoru go? Susumu Ito looked at Kaoru Kota on the screen and smiled foolishly. Yes, but if you hurt Kisaki Eri's foot, then you will lose one of your eyes. You can choose your left or right eye. After you lose your eye, I can arrange for you and Xiaoxuan to go to England for treatment. Once you get there are people who will help you with your future life. As long as you stay away from Japan, it's up to you whether you agree or deny this request. Tianqing gave the choice. Why should I believe you? Ito Jin didn't quite believe what Tianqing said on the screen. The boss knows very well what kind of person I am, and I will do what I say, Tianqing said with a smile. You can believe it if you enter Baozi, I'm here to guarantee it. Shadow patted Ito Jin's shoulder. Okay, he said, picking up a compass and inserting it into his left eye. I hope you can get along well, Jin's last words before fainting. Tianqing looked at the person who looked very similar to Jin. You are Ito Kai. I have already booked the ticket for Ito Susumu's brother. The time is 1 week later and the money has been deposited into Susumu's account. And you told him that he promised not to return to the island. It's easy to remember, otherwise don't blame me, I can actually save Xintian Keiru or destroy her in an instant. Tianqing looked at Ito Kai in warning. I believe none of you want to be the next Shin Ito, right? Baozi asked everyone present with a smile. The scene was quiet for a while. If someone wants to do it, I don't mind if he becomes the enemy of the ghost group. Baozi still looked at everyone with a gloomy face. Seeing that no one had any objections, Tianqing looked at Xiangying. By the way, you will definitely be interested if Inghe makes a deal. Baozi smiled. Chapter 7 Baozi's Revenge, Part 2. When Jingsuan returned home, he looked at the photos of his family posted around him and recalled what Fei Tianqing said. If my mother gets any more injuries in these 2 weeks, I will be blamed on you regardless of whether I have anything to do with you or not. If my mother hurts her foot, I will break your daughter's foot. If she hurts her hand, I will just break your son's hand. Fei Tianqing's tone was full of murderous intent. Imura was speechless. The phone went silent for a while. If I promise you to leave the island country and leave Yinchuan, will you let my wife and children go? Jingsuan asked carefully. If you agree, I will find someone to take them directly to the airport. After Tianqing said that, she hung up the phone. Imura thought for a long time and finally made a decision. One night 2 days later, Xiaoqing, Kisaki Eri, Satu and Takagi had dinner out. On the way home. Mom, the food in this restaurant is delicious. Why don't you bring me here next time? Tianqing coquettishly said next to Eri. Good for you, you greedy cat. Eri stroked Tianqing's head. Before anyone could react, Imura rushed towards Kisaki Eri. Kisaki Eri takes his life. Imura actually rushed towards Kisaki Eri with a knife in his hand. Satu and Takagi immediately protected Eri behind them. At this moment, Imura suddenly changed his direction and rushed towards Tianqing. Xiaoqing, the 3 of them exclaimed. At this time, Tianqing quickly blocked the sharp knife with his watch. So you chose the latter, so I have to start the game early, Xiaoqing said in a voice that only Imura could hear. The moment Imura panicked, Takagi rushed over and pushed Imura to the ground. You let my family go, I am the only one to do the work, Jingsuan shouted to Tianqing. What are you talking about? Both Satu and Takagi were confused. After Miles came to his senses. Tianqing, what's the matter with you? Are you okay? Eri ran to Tianqing. Looking at the pale Kisaki Eri. Mom, I'm fine, Tianqing said reluctantly. Just when Eri's hand caught Tianqing's hand, Tianqing couldn't help but make a sound. What's wrong with your hands? When Eri untied Tianqing's damaged watch, she saw that Tianqing's hands had begun to become red and swollen. What's wrong with your hands? Eri was heartbroken when she saw it. Takagi, please send this person back, I'll take the concubine, lawyer and the others to the hospital. Hospital. Baozi, why are you injured again? Tingjing joked while treating Xiaoqing. It's that madman from Yinchuan again, but I decided to start the game early. Tianqing's face was very gloomy. Baozi, your hand is broken and needs to be put in a plaster. If you didn't have a special watch made by Chushui, I'm afraid you would be sleeping in the operating room now. Ting Jing inspected Tianqing's arm. At this time Kisaki Eri walked into the treatment room. Doctor, how is my daughter? Eri walked in after giving her confession. If you have a broken wrist, you need to put on a plaster and don't touch the water, Ting Jing said. I know, Eri looked at Tianqing worriedly. Mom, don't worry, I'm fine. Tianqing smiled. Soon after, Tianqing finally put on the cast and Eri came out of the medical room. Lawyer Kisaki is really weird. The prisoner kept saying that Xiaoqing had captured his family and wanted to write about him. Officer Memoku said to Kisaki Eri in confusion. How could a 7-year-old kid kidnap an adult? Sata looked at Takagi like a madman. The next day, at the request of the police officer, Eri brought Tianqing to the search section 1 to give a confession. When Tianqing went to the reception room, he met 2 police officers and Amura came out of the bathroom. When the two met, Tianqing said a message that only Amura could understand with a murderous smile. Your game is over. The crimes you have committed will be confessed by your family in hell. Tianqing said to Amura with lip language. It turns out that when Tianqing investigated Jingsuan, he discovered that he had learned lip reading 10 years ago. I'm going to kill you, Imura broke away from the 2 police officers and rushed towards Tianqing. But the result can be imagined. Eri knocked him to the ground with a beautiful shoulder throw. It turned out that Eri was already on guard when he saw Imura, and Tianqing on the side was also shocked because it was the first time she saw him. Mom takes action. Concubine, are you okay? Officer Mu Mu knelt down to check on Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing finally reacted when she heard the voice of the Memoku police officer, and she also shed tears at the same time. Tianqing, don't cry, uncle, can I treat you to some sweets? Officer Memu looked helpless at the crying Xiaoqing. But the tears Xiaoqing shed today were real tears, because she knew that now that her hand was injured, it would be easy for Imura to kill her just now. Her fear now is that the maternal love she had finally found would be lost in the moment. Disappear completely in an instant. After Officer Memoku finished speaking, Tianqing's body was still trembling and she couldn't stop crying. In the end, Eri held her in her arms and comforted her, and then she slowly calmed down her mood. A few hours later, Jingsuan also received news that her wife and 2 children were involved in a car accident on their way back from a trip. The car went off a cliff and everyone in the car died. Jingsuan collapsed when he heard the news. From then on, there was a crazy man in XX mental hospital. In fact, it was a man named Longshan Xiuya who commissioned the Ghost Group to help. It turned out that with the help of Imura in Yinshuan 3 years ago, he forcibly took Yongshan Mihue and his 2 children as his own and wanted to kill Longshan Xiuya, but he was saved just a few months ago. He went to the Ghost team and asked for help. This is what happened. The truth now is that Xiuya, her wife named Yongsan Mihue and their 2 children have embarked on their new journey. Birds and Beasts concentration camp 2 days later. Baozi, what you asked me to do has been done, Ying said. Thank you, Kue O, Hacker, Xing Chen and Zi Yan will have to rely on you next. Tianqing ordered the next work. No problem, we will help you cover, the 4 said. The 5 million Ing Na will be transferred to your secret account in 30 minutes. Judge, are you ready? Tianqing asked. Okay, you can do it any time. The judge recovered quickly. Judge, formerly known as Peter Ram, a British man, he is a master of business transactions. In fact, secretly he is an arms, gun, businessman. He has branches in 26 countries around the world. Okay, everyone is ready. The game will start in 10 minutes. Tianqing issued the command arrangement. 10 minutes after Tianqing issued the order, Yinshuan's XX Enterprise system began to be attacked by different attacks. Since the attack began, their company's customer information has been continuously disclosed to the outside world. At this time, companies have stopped investing in their company, there were also constant calls from companies asking for compensation, so she chose to call the police. However, the police hacker crime team also had no clue about those who attacked their company. In the end, a passerby in the counterattack hacker team seemed to have thought of something. Someone who can help. I thought I could ask someone to help. Passerby A was thinking about his boss's report. You guys can't break through anything. What happened? A boss asked a passerby. It's really impossible to break into this system. Their attacks are too strong, passerby A said. Then you contact that person again. A boss replied and allowed passerby A to seek help from foreign aid. What's wrong? Can you fight back? Yinchuan asked nervously about the situation. A supervisor looked at his boss. We are now contacting a professional personnel, hoping that he can help you. He helped us solve that major case 2 months ago. A boss responded to the leader's words. If he can help me, I will pay any amount of money. Yinchuan asked helplessly. 10 minutes later. That person replied that he would not help with this incident, and he also said that in our world there is someone who dares to interfere with this incident. Finally, he had something to say to your Miss Yinchuan. Harming others will ultimately harm yourself. You know what you have done yourself. Passerby A brought something to her. This seems to be aimed at your Miss Yinchuan. Have you offended anyone recently, or done something you shouldn't do to others? A supervisor who received the reply asked his boss. No, she can't say that she paid for the murder even if she was beaten to death. Oh no, our system has been blown up, said passerby A. What? A boss was shocked. On the other hand, Baozi was having so much fun that he even played online mahjong with the hackers. I have acquired 85% of Baozi. It's time for you to have enough fun. Let's end it like this. The judge looked at the trend chart. It's okay, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I'll leave the rest to you. After Baozi said that, he left the group chat. An hour later, XX Enterprise officially declared bankruptcy and Yinchuan Naihizi was also arrested by the police on multiple charges. In this game, the beasts in the beast group finally know that it's fine to offend anyone, but they must not step on Baozi's bottom line. Baozi also has a motto. If you want to send me to hell, you must go to hell first. This is Baozi's motto. Chapter 8 Meeting 3 Famous Detectives for the First Time. Kansai Heiji Family. Heiji, did you know that Miho, who transferred to junior high school, invited us to their school's school festival? Yi happily shared the invitation from her little sisters with Heiji. Heiji recalled Miho's appearance. Is that Kanda with the thick black-rimmed glasses? She seems to have transferred to Fudo High School in Tokyo. Heiji remembered a nerdy junior high school classmate. That's right, she can also invite Xiaolan and the others to come with her then. I heard from Xiaolan that they have already started their vacation, so I can invite her to play together. He made a decision. At this time Heiji also thought of Conan. I haven't contacted that brat Conan for a long time. Heiji was also excitedly thinking about whether he would encounter a case with that Shinigami elementary school student. After hearing that Heiji agreed to the trip, Yi walked out of the courtyard with his cell phone and called Xiaolan directly. Tokyo Muri Detective Agency. Xiaolan, do you want to go to Fudo High School's campus festival with us? Talking to Yi and Xiaolan on the phone. Xiaolan thought about it after hearing Hai's invitation. Okay, we just have a vacation. Xiaolan happily agreed to Hai's invitation. After hearing Xiaolan's agreement, the two agreed on a time to meet. We'll be here in 2 days, Yi said and hung up the phone. 2 days later, Hai and Heiji came to Xiaolan's house. Xiaolan can finally meet again. When Hai saw Xiaolan, he hugged her directly. Haijik squatted down to talk to Conan. Conan, are you okay? Heiji asked with concern. Conan rolled his eyes at Heiji. It's okay. Why do you suddenly want to attend Fudo High School's campus festival? Conan looked at Heiji in confusion. After hearing Conan's question, I explained it to Yi. It was our former classmate who transferred to another school who invited me there. After hearing what Kazui said, Xiaolan and Kazui left the office arm in arm because Kazui wanted to buy a meeting gift for Miho. Early the next morning, everyone arrived at Fudo High School. Standing at the door of Fudo High School was a long-haired girl with big eyes. Hee, you guys are here. A girl ran to Hee and gave her a hug. Mihue, I'm so happy to see you again. Kazuha happily hugged Miho. That's great, Heiji, you still like to hang out with Kazuha, Miho teased as she looked at the black man standing next to Kazuha. Who likes to stick with him? The two of them denied with their faces turning red. Looking at the expressions of the two people, several people laughed. Okay, Miho, let me introduce you to my friend Muralin, and that kid is Conan who lives in Xiaolan's house. Hi, introduced Xiaolan and Conan. My name is Kanda Miho. Nice to meet you. Miho introduced herself generously. At this time, a boy with a braid and a school uniform came over. Are these two beautiful ladies willing to walk on campus with me? The boy thought he was handsome and walked up to Miho. When Conan and Heiji saw this, they felt that the person in front of them looked familiar but they couldn't remember who he was. Kindaichi, what are you doing? Miho looked at Kindaichi helplessly, holding her forehead. Heiji and Conan look at each other. Why is Kindaichi's name so familiar? Heiji and Conan said. As soon as Kinda heard someone mentioning him, he looked at Miho curiously. Miho, are these your friends? Can you introduce me? Kindaichi looked at the people in front of him curiously. Among them, Kindaichi recognized Hattori Heiji. Kindaichi, is this okay for you? You haven't seen anyone since the beginning. You don't need to go back to reason and do research. Will it help? Miho looked at Kindaichi helplessly. Okay, I'm from the ghost department anyway. Kindaichi continued chatting with a few people casually. Just then. What are you doing? A girl came over and put her arm around Kindaichi's ears. Watching the girl twisting her ears, Kindaichi continued to smile playfully. Beautiful Miyuki, Kindaichi begged for mercy. At this time, Miyuki noticed several people standing next to Kindaichi. Miho, who are these? Miyuki let go of Kindaichi's ears when she saw outsiders. These are my friends Toyama Kazuha. The one standing next to him is Heiji. Don't look at him so dark. He is a high school detective from Kansai. This is Muralin. The kid's name is Conan. Miho introducing a few people around me. Hello, my name is Nanace Miyuki. Miyuki introduced herself. By the way, Miyuki, why are you here? Kindaichi asked Miyuki next to him strangely. Upon hearing Kindaichi's question, Miyuki became angry and twisted Kindaichi's ears again. You actually asked me why I'm here. Now it's obvious that there are many intersections above Miyuki's head. Calm down. Kindaichi immediately entered the comfort mode. Didn't you say that you wanted to help with the Mystery Research Association's exhibition? Miyuki looked at the people around her angrily. Kindaichi curled his lips. Then why don't you use Suda? Kindaichi put his hands behind his head and looked at Miyuki in confusion. Miyuki took a deep breath. Didn't you see Suda preparing the class stall? Miyuki grabbed Kindaichi by one ear and pulled him away. After seeing the two men's operations, a drop of sweat broke out on several people's heads. What on earth are they doing? Heiji whispered speechlessly. You don't have to blame them. They have been childhood sweethearts since childhood. This situation happens almost every day. Miho smiled awkwardly. After hearing Miho's words, Heiji and Conan looked at each other. You don't have to look at him like this now. When something really happens, he is the most reliable person. Miho admired Kindaichi very much. He looked at the two people fighting in the distance with an expression of disbelief. Would he? It seems unlikely. Miho turned around and looked at a few people. Have you heard about the murder incident at our Fudo High School before? Miho asked several people. After hearing Miho's reminder, Conan finally remembered the Fudo High School murder case that had been in the news a while ago. It's the 7 unbelievable murders of Fudo High School that shocked Tokyo. Conan looked at a few people. That's right. Did you know that the person who solved that incident was Kendaichi? Miho admired Kendaichi very much. I can't believe it. He looked at Kendaichi, who was not very serious and didn't quite believe it. The serious side of him is very nice. Miho unconsciously remained silent in her own world. Looking at Miho Xiaolan with such an expression, she seemed to understand something. Miho, do you like Kendaichi? Xiaolan asked. After hearing this question, Miho generously admitted that she likes Kendaichi. Yes, I like him very much, but I know that in Kendaichi's heart, there is only her childhood sweetheart. Miho looked at the direction in which Kendaichi left, feeling a little distracted. Feeling that the atmosphere suddenly became quiet, Heiji came out to break the atmosphere. Why don't we go to a reasoning research institute to see the benefits? Heiji changed the subject. I'll take you there. After Miho said that, she led a few people towards the reasoning research club. The 2 people behind the 3 girls were studying Kendaichi. Hey Conan, I'm getting more and more interested in that Kendaichi, Heiji asked Conan. Me too. I really want to know what kind of person he is. Conan and Heiji looked at each other. Reasoning Research Society. This year's theme is called the Great Mystery Expo. Reports of the Mystery Society will be displayed in this biology room. The herbarium next to the door is an exhibition room used to store valuable exhibition items. Everyone brings valuable items related to reasoning. Where will it be placed? Miyuki introduced the process of the reasoning seminar. Not long after the tasks were assigned, everyone left. After Ai was hungry all day, Miyuki rushed to the takoyaki stall as soon as they were released. While the smell of octopus and flour mixed together, Kendaichi looked like he was drooling. Looking at Kendaichi like this, Conan expressed doubts. Hey Heiji, do you really think that person is the one who uncovered the murder case? Conan was speechless when he saw Kendaichi drooling. It turns out that the Mystery Club is preparing for work and is not open for tours yet, so Heiji and the others go to eat first. It's really unbearable, Kendaichi is pretending to be cute. Seeing Kendaichi like this, Suda was speechless. Is this okay for you, Kendaichi? Suda looked at Kendaichi with some worry. No problem, Kendaichi looked at Suda indifferently. It's already burned. Please help me go to the box over there, Suda ordered. Where did the box come from? Kendaichi couldn't see anything with a box. Suda pointed to a pile of hard cards at the back. That's the one piled up there. Suda continued busy with the work at hand. This is the box. Kendaichi saw a bunch of straight paper. Looking at Kendaichi's confusion, Suda took the cardboard and folded it. Look, doesn't it just turn into a box? Suda folded it a few times and a box came out. I'm not welcome. Kaneda opened his mouth and was about to bite, his ears hurt. Ah, you're just lazy when I don't look at you. Miyuki's angry voice came. Miyuki, don't be like this. I haven't eaten breakfast yet, Kendaichi said pitifully. Miyuki sighed. Then let's eat while walking. Miyuki pulled Kendaichi's ear and left. At this time, a man who looked very arrogant came over. I'm really worried about Miyuki leaving those valuable things in Kendaichi's care, Makoto Makabe said. Kendaichi, you have to watch over it carefully, especially my complete set of Conan Doyle's autographed books, said Jingu. Just then Heiji and the others came in. Wow, brother is great. Is this true? Conan suddenly asked Jingu. Seeing Conan who admires him, he felt proud. This is my university professor's dad's collection. The price tag is 1 million, so I definitely can't throw it away, Jingu said proudly. Everyone, the lunch you ordered has been delivered, Mane said. Hee, you guys can join us too. Miyuki saw Hee and the others were there, so she invited them to have lunch together. Okay, Hee agreed. Just then Jingu rushed in with a letter. Sorry, the grandson of Sherlock Holmes has written again. Jingu held up the letter in his hand. What? Heiji and Conan also shouted. Contents of the letter. Something is about to happen in your treasure room. Grandson of Holmes. What kind of treasure room is this? Kindaichi led everyone and ran into the treasure room. As soon as I entered the treasure room, the room suddenly became dark. Blackout, someone said. That's not right, Kindaichi said first. I just heard the sound of a switch, Heiji said. Someone turned off the lights in this room, Conan said. It's so dark, I can't see anything, someone said. Where's the switch? Someone said. Outside the door, someone replied. At this time, someone turned on the light. When everyone came to their senses, they discovered that the complete set of Sherlock Holmes books was missing. How can this possibly be there even before turning off the lights? Makoto Makabe said. It can't disappear so fast, someone said. At this time, Kindaichi, Heiji and Conan started thinking. If someone comes in within 20 to 30 seconds after the lights are turned off, they will be discovered, and I can be sure that no one has come in, Kindaichi was thinking. Heiji, what do you think? Conan asked in a low voice. If someone comes in within 20 to 30 seconds after the lights are turned off, they will be discovered, and I can be sure that no one has come in, Heiji said. I'm sure of that, Conan agreed with Heiji. That means the criminal who stole the complete works of Sherlock Holmes is in the room. This is what the three of them thought. Why is it possible to have such a big collection of books, said a certain person. It's so weird that the whole set of books disappeared in an instant, said person B. What should I do? My dad will definitely cut off relations with me. Jingu was horrified. This is my chance to stand up, Makoto Makabe thought. It's all your fault, Kindaichi, Makoto Makabe said. Meow, Kindaichi was speechless. It's because I have to manage the important items room for you and I'm lazy, so Kindaichi, you have to accompany me. Makoto Makabe walked out and pointed at Kindaichi. Do you have any grudge against them? Heiji asked Conan in a low voice. It seems so, Conan replied. Wait a minute, Makabe-san, although Ichi is responsible for this room, the current situation is not that Ichi is causing chaos. Miyuki spoke for Ahichi. That's why, Kindaichi said. If the complete works of Sherlock Holmes suddenly disappeared in this almost secret room, the responsibility would fall on me as the guard. In the previous letter from the grandson of Sherlock Holmes, this was what was said to prove my incompetence. Kindaichi thought understood things. Heiji, do we want to help? Conan asked Heiji next to him. I would like to see Kindaichi's reasoning. If there is any mistake in the reasoning, it will not be too late for us to help. Heiji looked at the situation in front of him and gave the answer. What I'm saying is that I'm also interested in this idle guy. Conan agreed with Heiji's statement. Then that letter is a challenge to Kindaichi. Everyone understood. Of course I accepted his challenge in order to live up to my grandfather's reputation as a famous detective, Kindaichi said. Could it be that Kindaichi's grandfather is the famous detective Kindaichi Kosuka? Conan and Heiji understood. After checking the scene, nothing was found. In the end, Miyuki brought some takoyaki to comfort Da. It was then that Kindaichi thought of the answer. School is finally over. Everyone in the school has left. Valuables room. That kid seems to have given up his mind to go back, said a prisoner. He would never have guessed that I hid things here, a prisoner continued. It turns out you hid it in the carpet, but you figured it out. Kindaichi suddenly appeared with a flashlight. Why are you here? A prisoner was shocked. The fox's tale is finally revealed. Grandson of Sherlock Holmes, I already knew that you would take back the trap tonight, so I'm waiting for you here, Kindaichi said. But where does he want to hide the complete set of books in the exhibition room? Makoto Makabe asked. I'm afraid the whole set of books has been moved outside while we were eating lunch, Kindaichi said. Kindaichi glanced at Miyuki. Miyuki, Please go outside and open the lunchbox and take a look, Kindaichi ordered. Really, this is the only one that looks shiny after washing? Miyuki asked a strange question. And it's strange that even the compartments used to separate dishes are missing. I looked at the clean lunchbox and was very surprised. Of course, Kindaichi looked at the lunchbox. So the prisoner only had to steal the box, said person B. But the empty box is also very big. Miyuki asked as she looked at the lunchbox. Don't worry about this, Kaneda said as he made a few movements with several pieces of cardboard and turned the cardboard into a book box. What flat cardboard turned into an exquisite book box? Person B's eyes widened when he saw the movements of Kindaichi's hands. After wonderful reasoning, the prisoner is Masahiko Jingu. I lost this time, but I will never agree with your reasoning ability. Jingu looked unconvinced. If you want to beat me in reasoning, wait another 100 years, Kindaichi scorned the Valley of Shock. It seems that guy likes Nanace and wants to surpass Kindaichi, said a certain person. Although this happened today, seeing such a wonderful reasoning really made the price go away, said Heiji and Conan. It seems that he is a good opponent. If I have the chance, I would really like to compete with him. Conan expressed interest in Kindaichi. I'm looking forward to this day too, Heiji said. Chapter 9 Asking for help from the Metropolitan Police Department. Tianqing has learned something from Conan in the past few days, which is that the Metropolitan Police Department's computer systems have been continuously attacked by hackers, and a lot of data has been stolen, which has caused great harm to the Metropolitan Police Department. Fortunately, the undercover police list of the Metropolitan Police Department has not been breached, otherwise I don't know how many police officers would have died. What's the status of that incident now? Ayumi asked Conan, gossiping. Conan glanced at several people present. Now the police officers have invited the doctor to help. Conan said about the current situation. After hearing what Conan said, Tianqing suddenly became interested in this attack. I really need to learn more about such an interesting thing. Tianqing listened attentively to the details Conan said. After a while, Ayumi and others were no longer interested in this matter. Tianqing, do you want to play with us today? Ayumi looked at Tianqing, who was reading a book, and invited her to play together. Tianqing thought for a while, and Fei seemed to be back from a business trip today. My mother came back from a business trip today and I have to go home early, Tianqing politely refused Ayumi. Really? Ayumi was a little disappointed. Finally it was time for school to end and Tianqing rushed home in one stride. Bird and Beast Concentration Camp. Hackers, do you know? The Metropolitan Police Department's computers are constantly being attacked, Tianqing asked the hacker when he came up. I also learned that this time seems to be quite fun. The hacker stroked his chin. At this time another person also joined the chat. Baozi, you're out of school, Choshue appeared. Seeing the autumn water coming out and the sky clearing, I felt curious. Hasn't this woman always been opposed to sleeping late? Isn't it early in the morning over there? Why are you still up? Baozi asked Choshue in confusion. Far away on a desert island, there was a black-haired woman wearing night clothes looking at a garrison base in the distance, with a microtransmitter next to her. Baozi, are you interested in this incident? The puppet asked Tianqing in confusion. I just want to know who is that guy who has the courage to openly challenge the Metropolitan Police. Tianqing looked at the code on the screen with excitement. In a villa on a certain hill, there is a purple-haired woman looking at the group chat on the computer. He seems to be quite capable in breaking through the Metropolitan Police Department's system defenses. Ziyen joined the chat with a cigarette in her mouth. Just then Xingqian sent a message. Hey Baozi, I just received a request for help from a friend, asking me to help with the Metropolitan Police Department's hacker attack incident. Xingqian asked Tianqing in the group if he wanted her to help. Oh, they are so capable of finding you. Tianqing lamented the strong connections of the Metropolitan Police Department. You have to send real-time messages to us then. The hacker wanted to see the time of Tianqing's attack, so he asked her to broadcast it live. The person who is looking for me is my brother, so I can't shirk it. Xingqian shrugged helplessly. Come on, Tianqing finally agreed to help Xingqian. After seeing Tianqing's reply, Xingqian was so excited that she immediately booked a flight. Okay, I will go to the island country the day after tomorrow. This is my contact information. Xingqian left his contact number. The hacker looked at Xingqian, who was about to go offline in a hurry, and immediately sent a phone call to Xingqian. Call me on this phone when Xingqian comes. When you come, we will invite Baozi and Demon Fox out together. Ying invited Xingqian to attend the party. Okay, when we see Baozi, you must come out. Xingqian said and immediately went offline. 2 days later, a man with dark skin and short silver hair appeared at the Metropolitan Police Department. You're finally here, Al, Police Officer A said. A young police officer came out of the office and hugged the man named Al. This is Shang Yuan, asked the police chief. The police officer named Shang Yuan directly introduced the man in front of him to the director. This is Edward Al, a master at dealing with hackers. Shang Yuan introduced Al next to him. Hello, Al greeted everyone in lame island language. Hello, I am Yuichiro Kenkawa, the director of the Metropolitan Police Department. I have a favor for you this time. Yuichiro asked Al. It's not a bother to collect people's money to eliminate disasters for others. Al smiled. At this time Dr. Agasa also came out to say hello. Hello, I am Dr. Ali, the doctor introduced. After several people introduced each other, they quickly got to the point. Hello, can you let me see the system now? Al turned to Dr. Agasa. You can please come here. All we can do now is barely defend. Yuichiro led Al into an office. At this time, Al took out his computer and entered the system interface. When he saw the data, Al couldn't help but laugh. At the same time, he mourned for the people who use this software. What? Al? Shang Yuan saw Al showing a smile and looking at him in confusion. Al stopped smiling when he heard Shang Yuan's call. It's nothing. Can I contact a friend first? Al asked Yuichiro. Okay, no problem, Yuichiro said. After hearing Yuichiro's reply, Al called Baozi's phone number, but no one answered. It's strange that no one is answering, Al whispered into the phone. Later he made another call. Why doesn't Baozi answer the phone? Al asked. After hearing the question, I looked at the caller ID on my phone. Are you Xingqian? Baozi is in class now. If you want to find him, just call her at 11 o'clock. Ying was still yawning. I heard that Ying looked like he hadn't woken up and had a curious expression on his face. You haven't woken up yet? Al asked. I just fell asleep and you called me, Ying said angrily. Ying, do you know what I just saw? If Baozi knew about it, she would be mad to death. Al wanted to laugh when he thought about what he just found. After hearing this, Ying's gossip thoughts came out again. I discovered something interesting. Movie star wonders what case Al received. That person actually transformed Baozi's creation and used it to attack the Metropolitan Police Department system. He also created a 9-link chain in it that must be solved before he can counterattack, Al said. That person should be prepared to accept Baozi's anger. Well, I'll see Baozi's mother tonight for a business trip. She can come out. I still have to catch up on my sleep now. After Ying said that, he hung up the phone without mercy. Hey hello, Al said a few words but no one responded. Can Al be saved? Shang Yuan saw Al looking at the phone speechlessly and stepped forward to show concern. Looking at Shang Yuan Al, he put away his phone. Yes, but I have to ask 2 people to help me. Your team members can't help me. Al asked Yuichiro for his opinion. Yuichiro was a little embarrassed when he heard this suggestion. If you don't agree, I can't help, because we have to fight back and find the location of the prisoner. I can't do it alone, Al said honestly. Okay, I agree, Yuichiro decided. Okay, I'll contact them now. Al said, taking out his laptop and joining the centralized group. "Are you guys here with the hackers and puppets?" Al said. As soon as he got into the group, he spared them. "What's up, Xingchen?" they both responded at the same time. When Xingchen saw the two people replying, he immediately briefly explained the current situation. "In this case, shouldn't you go directly to Baozi?" the hacker asked Xingchen in confusion. Baozi couldn't get through on the phone, but Yingying said she was in class, Xingchen replied. "Okay, I'll be there tomorrow afternoon," the puppet agreed to Al's request. "I will come to the Metropolitan Police Department to find you in the afternoon," the hacker also replied to Al. Seeing that the hacker would be arriving in Al in the afternoon, he immediately agreed to pick him up at the door in the afternoon. "Good afternoon, I'll wait for you," Xingchen said and continued talking to the puppet. "Have you informed Baozi about this?" "She is from Tokyo?" the puppet asked. Xingchen thought for a while and replied to the puppet truthfully. "I called Baozi. She seems to be in class. I'll call her later. She must be notified of this matter, otherwise we won't be able to blame others when we die in the future," Xingchen said with a helpless smile. This matter is so serious. The two of them thought about how miserable they would be if they didn't tell Baozi about this matter. "Okay, let's just talk about the details in detail. We'll talk about it when you come," Xingchen said and got off. After hanging up the phone, Al briefly explained the situation to Yuichiro. "My friend will arrive this afternoon, and another one will come tomorrow. While waiting for them, I will strengthen the protection of your undercover list so that it will not be so easily compromised," Al said as he prepared to start. "Head job. I'll leave everything to you here," Yuichiro said and returned to his office. "So I started working until 2 hours later." Al's phone suddenly rang. "Are they stars?" came a child's voice. "Who are you?" Obviously, Al hasn't reacted yet. When Tianqing heard Al's question, she rolled her eyes at him. "I am Baozi," Tianqing answered Al's question. "Oh, what?" Al finally reacted and was startled by Tianqing's voice. "What are you doing so loudly and calling me so many times?" Baozi asked Xingchen. After Al came back to her senses, she explained what happened to Tianqing and also said that the criminals used junk software that she failed to develop to attack the Metropolitan Police Department. "You're saying that the prisoner didn't know how to buy the intrusion software I published last time, and he even modified some of the programs in my software and added a virus and puzzles to it." Qing seemed to understand what Al said to her on the phone. "That's right, Baozi, what are you going to do?" Xingchen asked with concern. "I'll call you this afternoon when I get home from school. You can use our underground link. I want to see if that reckless guy is modifying my software. Do you know that my affairs should not be made public?" Tianqing tells Xingchen to do a good job of protection. "I understand. Now I can only try my best to protect the systems that have not been compromised. The hackers will arrive in the afternoon and the puppets will arrive tomorrow. Then we will fight back together." Al said his proposal. Tianqing seems to have thought of something. "That guy Ziyan, didn't you ask her to help?" Tianqing asked. Xingchen sighed. "I don't know which guy has offended her recently. She is playing revenge and she is in high spirits. How dare I disturb her?" Al fearfully imagined that the last time he disturbed her when she was busy, she almost blew up his lair. "I have to go to class and I'll contact you in the afternoon." After Tianqing said that, she hung up the phone. 2 p.m. "Xingchen, I'm at the door. Come down and pick me up." The hacker arrived in front of the Metropolitan Police Department. The hacker is a dark-skinned Kansai man about 20 years old. "You are a hacker?" Al asked the young man. "You are a star." The hacker looked at the Frenchman in front of him. "Hello, I'm Edward Eyre," Eyre introduced himself. "I'm Sata Kengo, please give me some advice," Kengo said. "We are just trying our best to protect ourselves now. Baozi will contact me later. But I didn't expect Baozi to be really a child. I was really shocked when I heard the call just now," Al said. "After this matter is resolved, how about we invite Baozi out for a meeting? Kengo was very interested in Baozi. A good suggestion. When the puppet arrives tomorrow, the matter should be resolved within 3 hours. Al looked at the current progress and concluded. But then the angry Baozi will appear again. Kengo suddenly shuddered when he thought of Baozi's behavior before. The two looked at each other. Then let's have a moment of silence for that guy who doesn't know how to live or die. Al and Kengo sympathized with the guy who didn't know how to live or die. Baozi called Al at 3 p.m. Stars, you guys went in from point Y to crack the line of defense, and I went in from point H to crack the puzzle. Baozi quickly started working while instructing Al and Sata Kengo on their next operations. A few good people started to counterattack with 1 attack and 1 defense. In the house on the other side, there is a man with messy hair sitting in front of the computer. I don't believe that you losers can break into the software produced by the most powerful hackers. You incompetent people will only trample on my achievements. I want to take revenge on you people in the police force, a prisoner said arrogantly. Several people did not stop what they were doing, and several people continued to chat in the group. Baozi, what is the purpose of this software you made? Al asked in confusion. Boring, I was very bored at home one day, so I made this to pass the time. But this set of things also brought me a good income. Baozi shrugged. It's used to kill time. Everyone watching in the group was surprised. But this thing is also my achievement. I changed that guy's face beyond recognition. I will never forgive him. A crossroads appeared on Tianqing's head. I spent the night guarded and attacked by several people, and the puppets also arrived early the next morning. Hello, my name is Li Haiyuan, also known as Puppet. Haiyuan greeted the 2 people in front of him. Hello, we finally meet. Al and Kengo greeted each other. Li Yuanhai got off the plane and looked around as if he was looking for someone. By the way, why are you 2 the only ones here to pick up Baozi? Haiyuan thought he could see Baozi, but only the 2 men in front of him suddenly felt lost. Baozi went to catch up on his sleep. Just now, after we had re-strengthened the Metropolitan Police Department, Baozi said that there would be a final showdown tonight. Al explained the reason why Baozi did not show up. According to Baozi's way of doing things, he just wants to leave the hardest part to me. Haiyuan had an ominous premonition. Baozi said that there was a problem with the part of the software you designed, which made that person change the software she made and changed it beyond recognition. So you are responsible for completing all the 50 hacker puzzles and we can't interfere. Kengo conveyed Baozi's explanation. Task. What tone did she use when she said this? Haiyuan already knew that something was wrong with that part. When he heard the hacker's words, he immediately remembered that when the software was finished, he discovered that he had missed a program and had not entered it so that the software could be modified by intermediate hackers. Her tone was a little angry, and you could imagine there were a lot of crossroads on his head, Al explained. It's tragic. Haiyuan can almost feel his tragic fate next. Finally at night, the 4 people joined forces to counterattack. In the joint efforts of these 4 people, the opponent was completely defeated in less than 3 hours. The people from the Metropolitan Police still killed the prisoner 30 minutes later. Also arrested. The matter finally ended successfully, but the puppets sadly accepted Baozi's punishment. Chapter 10 Party. After the Metropolitan Police incident was resolved, Baozi and Yaohu went to the place where they had met for dinner to meet a few people that night. On Teng Jingfeng's car. It's hard for me to imagine what their expressions will be like when they see you. Teng Jingfeng looked at Tian Qing, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Tian Qing gave him a blank look. Have you analyzed the ingredients of the drugs in my body? Tian Qing glanced at Teng Jingfeng. Hearing Tian Qing mention the business, Teng Jing also became serious. The composition of your body is very strange. Logically speaking, the medicine you took before should be poison, but I don't know whether there was an error in any link or a mutation in some genes in your body that caused you to regress to your childhood, Teng Jingfeng explained. Tian Qing was not surprised at all when he heard this answer. Well, I can only see you step by step, or maybe that person has information. Tianqing thought of the man with brown hair. Hotel room. When everyone saw a white-haired man with a girl wearing a hat appear, everyone's first reaction except the film was that they had gone to the wrong room. Baozi, you are finally here. This person next to you. Ying quickly walked up to the two of them. Baozi, everyone present was stunned. Seeing everyone's reactions, Baozi was very satisfied. His family is nice and I am a demon fox, Teng Jingfeng introduced himself. Come and sit down first before we chat. Ying greeted them and asked them to sit down. Ying watched everyone arrive and began to introduce themselves. My name is Luna. The shadow in the group is me. The shadow was the first to stand up and introduce himself. I am Xingchen from the Edward Air Group. Thank you for your help in this incident. Xingchen raised his glass and clinked it with several people present. My name is Sada Kengo, a hacker in the group. The hacker also stood up and greeted several people. Tianqing noticed that the hacker looked a bit like Satu passing by. Who are you, Officer Satu from the Metropolitan Police Department? Tianqing asked the hacker curiously. The hacker glanced at Tianqing curiously. She is my sister Baozi. Do you know her? The hacker was a little confused. She was the one who protected my mother before. Tianqing smiled. At this time, a Korean stood up. I am the puppet in Li Haewon's group. The puppet introduced himself. After everyone introduced themselves, they all looked at Baozi. Hello everyone, I am Baozi from Concubine Tianqing's group. Tianqing stood on the stool and introduced herself. It's not Baozi, we should have known each other 10 years ago, right? But why would you? The puppet looked at Tianqing in confusion. Tianqing sighed silently. Things are a bit complicated and I don't know how to explain it. Tianqing picked up a glass of red wine and drank it directly. After a happy dinner that evening, Tianqing was sent home by Teng Jingfeng, and they also made an appointment to discuss the party in the group later. Night Birds and Beasts Concentration Camp. Baozi, the date of our party is next month. If you must come and don't show up, I will ask Qiu Shui to fly a helicopter to your house and kidnap you. Ziyan spoke directly because she was not sure how many hackers were with Baozi today. Feel dissatisfied with eating. Sister Ziyan, please calm down. I want to live longer, so I will definitely show up. Tianqing was a little afraid of Ziyan being so tough. You can do it, Ziyan replied domineeringly with a cute expression. Baozi and we will be there. Except for Tianxia, Luwei and his wife who are going to the Theft Prevention Police Headquarters for rescue, others will also be there, TK replied. At this time, a barrage floated across the screen. They are going to put out the fire again, Pia Piao exaggeratedly posted a barrage. When I saw TK's answer, Tianqing felt that this was the funniest thing. If the people from the Theft Prevention Bureau knew that they were the famous duo of thieves, they wouldn't kill them. Tianqing wanted to laugh when she thought about this. Speaking of which, Baozi, why don't you come with me on my private jet? Ying suggested. Tianqing thought about it and thought it shouldn't be a big problem. What was I thinking about telling my mother that I was going on a long trip? Tianqing pondered this question. Then there was the sound of the door opening. Mom, didn't you say you wouldn't come back tonight? Faye Miles. Tianqing looked confused when she opened the door. Miles took off his shoes and put down his handbag. Today's negotiation went very well, so I saw it was still early, so I came right back. Miles sat on the sofa and rested. Tianqing thoughtfully poured her a glass of water. I see you haven't eaten yet. I'll make you another noodle. Tianqing said and walked directly to the kitchen, picked up an apron and started cooking. I feel relieved to see such a sensible daughter, Miles. I'm going to take a bath and clean myself up first, Miles said, before taking the file bag back to the room. Soon a bowl of delicious noodles and a green vegetable were placed on the dining table. Not long after, Fei Li took care of herself and sat down at the dinner table. Mom Xiaoqing, I am going to London on a business trip for 2 weeks on the 8th of next month, but you will also be on vacation at that time. I am not worried about you being alone at home. I want to put you at Xiaolan's house and let her take care of you, okay? Eri asked Tianqing for his opinion. After hearing Fei Mi's proposal, Tianqing rejected it directly. I don't want my mother, why don't you take me with you? Tianqing's eyes turned into stars. Fei Li sighed after hearing Tianqing's request. I'm going to work. I'm even more worried if I leave you in the hotel when I get there. Eri explained the matter. Mom, you know my real age. Plus I can speak several languages so I won't get lost. Tianqing continued. But Eri still has some worries. I saw that Fei Miles was a little loose. Okay. Tianqing had no choice but to use coquettish skills to deal with Eri. Seeing her coquettish daughter, Miles finally agreed to Tianqing's request. Thank you, Mom. Tianqing happily kissed Fei Lily. Herds of birds and beasts. My problem has been solved. When will the party be held? Where will we gather? Tianqing asked for the exact time. Seeing Tianqing's question, Hacker asked a question. Baozi, have you convinced Fei Li yet? My mother is going to London to work for 2 weeks next month, so I will go there with her, Tianqing answered the hacker's question. The hotel has been booked at XXX. The party is on the 10th, but Tingjing and Ziyan and I will go there on the 8th. The hacker said the arrangement. After seeing the hacker's arrangement, Tianqing decided to meet with a few people on the 8th. Let's meet hackers on the 8th, Tianqing said. We met that day, Baozi. This is my phone number to call you then. Ziyan left her phone number. I really want to see what the cute buns look like soon. Then my sister will give you a mysterious gift, Ziyan said excitedly. Ziyan, formerly known as Song Zi Qiao, she is a Korean and a master of network hacking. She is also a terrifying bomb and biochemical weapons manufacturing expert. The buns are really cute, Tingjing interjected. Yeah, I almost choked on my saliva when I saw the steamed buns for the first time. Kage also joined the conversation and chimed in. After hearing these words, crossroads kept appearing in Tianqing's head. I think it's time to change your security system. Tianqing giving a strong warning. Baozi, I was just joking, don't be angry. Lowered his head and began to reduce his presence. Looking at Tianqing, who was trying to reduce his presence, he sighed. See you then. I'm going to bed now. Bye everyone. After Tianqing said that, she went offline. One day 2 weeks later, Conan and the others were invited by a foreigner to visit London. On the other side, Tianqing is also looking forward to this trip to London. Chapter 11 Trip to London, Part 1. The day finally came to set foot in London. That night, Eri came to Tianqing's room and planned to help her pack her luggage. How are you cleaning up? Eri knocked on Tianqing's room door. Tianqing put down the clothes in his hands and opened the door. That's about right. Is Mom's client this time looking for someone to practice international law? Tianqing looked at Miles curiously. That's right, because the client was involved in a murder case in London and there was a lot of unfavorable evidence. Pointing to him, so the client asked his friend to find me and asked me to go to London to help him. Eri helped Tianqing pack his clothes while talking about the work to be done in London. So that's it? Tianqing understood why Eri suddenly wanted to go to London. My heart melts looking at such a cute daughter. Although your real age is 17, you are just a 7-year-old child now. You have to be obedient in the future, you know? Eri kissed Tianqing. In the evening, the two of them finally boarded a plane to London. It was a coincidence that the hotel where Eri was staying turned out to be. It was the place where Kagoro and the others were captured, and it was also the venue where Tianqing and the others gathered. XX Hotel Lobby. Tianqing, I'll go register. You can look around here but don't go too far. Eri told Tianqing and then walked to the service desk alone. Okay, Tianqing responded. At this time, a familiar figure walked up to Tianqing. Conan, why are you here? Tianqing looked at the Death God Elementary School student Conan standing in front of him in confusion. It turned out that Conan saw Tianqing when she was far away and walked directly to her. Fei Tianqing, why are you here too? Conan was a little surprised. At this time Xiaolan came over looking for Conan. Conan, you used to be here, but now you are abroad. You can't run around or you will be in trouble if you get lost. Xiaolan held Conan's hand. Sister Xiaolan, Tianqing now wants to be a polite child. Xiaolan was very surprised to see Tianqing here. Tianqing, why are you here? Is your mother here too? Xiaolan looked around for Fei Li. At this time there was a noise from the counter. Eri Kagoro looked at the person behind him and was startled. He is indeed a lecherous uncle. Eri looked at Muri Kagoro with a cross on her head, teasing the lady at the front desk. Why are you here? Kagoro was so scared that he wanted to run away from here. Shouldn't I ask you this? Eri responded directly. At this time, Xiaolan immediately ran out and explained the reason. Mom, this is how we helped a foreign lady get her cat back in a restaurant and she invited us to her home guest. Mom is here to work. Tianqing also said the reason why Miles is here. After hearing Tianqing's reminder, Xiaolan also knew the reason why Fei Li was here. I see, it seems like you two are very destined. Xiaolan tried hard to find a topic. After hearing what their daughter said, the two of them blushed and refuted Xiaolan's words. Who is destined to him? A perfect chorus appeared. After completing the formalities, Miles directly picked up Tianqing and left the front desk. Conan Xiaolan, let's go too. Kagoro took the two of them out of the lobby angrily. Xiaolan and Conan, who were behind Kagoro, looked at each other helplessly. Not long after Tianqing returned to the room, she received a call from Tingjing. Baozi, hacker, Ziyan and I have already arrived. Have you arrived? Tingjing asked Tianqing if he had arrived at the hotel. I'm already in the hotel room, Tianqing replied to Tingjing. We've got the room key and it's in the hotel lobby now, Ziyan's voice interrupted. Come. It turns out that Ziyan and Yao who have already met and are now checking in at the lobby. Are you Ziyan? Tianqing asked the person on the phone. Baozi, you're about to get ready. Tingjing asked Tianqing to go downstairs to the lobby. I'll come down now, Tianqing said and hung up the phone. At this time Eri came out of the bathroom. Who is looking for you, Tianqing? Eri came out of the bathroom and asked with concern. It's a friend of mine. She's also come to London. She's in the lobby right now. I'll go down and pick her up. After Tianqing said that, she put on her shoes and got ready to go out. After hearing his daughter's reply, Miles thought about it. Don't go too late, Eri ordered. I know, Tianqing said and left the room. I'm going to start working too. Eri saw Tianqing off and stretched out before going straight to work. Hotel lobby. Why are the buns taking so long? Ziyan looked around curiously. Isn't she here? Tingjing soon saw Tianqing walking in the distance. He went up to him directly. Everyone looked in the direction where Tingjing left and saw him picking up a child and walking toward them. You are a steamed stuffed bun, the judge seemed frightened. Baozi, you are so cute. Ziyan finally came to her senses and picked up Tianqing and kissed her cheek. Ziyan, please don't be so exaggerated, okay? Tianqing heard Ziyan's voice and blocked her enthusiasm with her hands. Tingjing, are you sure you didn't identify the wrong person? The judge still couldn't believe it. Tianqing was very unhappy after hearing the judge's accusation. Judge, do you want to follow in the footsteps of Kuao? I heard that he hasn't unlocked it yet. Tianqing. Qing's dangerous voice reached TK's ears. Let's not stand here and talk about finding a place to sit. Ziyan put down Tianqing and returned to normal. Hotel restaurant. Okay, let's reintroduce ourselves, Tingjing said. Let's start with me. My name is Fei Tianqing. I am a Tokyo native and the most popular among 7-year-olds this year. Tianqing introduces herself. I am Song Ziqiao from Huagua, and I am Ziyan in the group. Ziyan introduced herself. My name is Sadakengo. I am from Kansai and a hacker in the group. Sadakengo also came to the restaurant. Hello, I am the Demon Fox in Tingjingfeng's group, Tingjing said. At this time, the red-haired judge introduced himself. I am Peter Lam, English. After everyone was introduced, Ziyan saw that no one seemed to be here, so she asked a few people present. By the way, when will the others arrive? Ing will arrive at 10 o'clock tonight, TK and Piao Piao will arrive at noon tomorrow, and Xingchen and Qiu Shui will arrive tomorrow morning. We just arrived. Our party will be at 8 o'clock in the evening on the 10th, on the 32nd floor of the hotel where we are staying. Hold, Tingjing said. Before they knew it, they had been chatting all afternoon. Tianqing looked at the time. It's almost time. I have to go back, otherwise my mother will be worried. Tianqing said and left the restaurant. By the way, did you bring your computers too? The hacker asked everyone. Of course, why don't we meet in the group tonight? Ziyan said. In this way, several people returned to their own guest rooms. Room. The two people in the room this night were busy with their own affairs. Eri was busy with the case. Tianqing is obsessed with playing the game he discovered a few days ago. Today is the last day of that super perverted mission. However, at the last moment, there was a sudden power outage in the hotel. Looking at the computer that suddenly went offline, Tianqing suddenly raised his eyebrows. It's best that this is not man-made, otherwise, Tianqing showed a dangerous smile. What happened? Eri looked confused as she looked at the turned-off computer and the dark room. It seems the power is out, Tianqing replied. Just then they heard a noise in the corridor. Eri wanted to open the door and go out to check the result. She didn't know what happened. People hit the ground. It hurts, Eri cried out. Mom, what's wrong? Tianqing ran over with a flashlight. It's okay, I just got hit a little bit, Eri stood up. Tianqing looked at the dark surroundings to see if there was anything unusual. Mom, I think we should go to the lobby to see what happened. Tianqing spoke after looking around. Mom, are you okay? At this time, Xiaolan and the others came over from a distance. We're fine, let's go to the lobby together. Eri looked at the three people coming. There was chaos in the hotel lobby and later even the police arrived. Do you know what happened? Tianqing retreated secretly to the hackers and the others. I don't know, but the conversation I heard just now seemed to say that their hotel computers were hacked. It also damaged the circuit system, translated by Ziyan. That person who doesn't want to live dares to destroy the mission circle I have been doing for 2 months. I will never. I will let that saboteur go. The sky was clear and there was air conditioning all around. Ziyan, do you feel murderous intent? The hacker asked Ziyan in a low voice. What's the sudden sense of danger? Ziyan's voice was trembling a little. Because Baozi is angry, Tingjing said. What happened to Tingjing? Kengo sneaked up to Tingjing and asked in a low voice. Don't you know? Some time ago, Baozi became obsessed with an online game and now he is playing that super. The extremely perverted 999 ring task. You must not log off before completing that task, otherwise you will have to restart it. All rewards for newbies have been cancelled, and tonight is Baozi's final step, but the one who doesn't know how to live or die. Guys, there was a huge power outage here, and Baozi was forced offline because he didn't install a backup network today. Teng. After Jing explained, she held a moment of silence for the murderer. After listening to Tingjing's explanation, the other two people began to mourn for the saboteur. We are here to wish you hope of survival after accepting the punishment, a certain offended bun. People who knew Tianqing at the scene paid a silent tribute to the murderer. Chapter 12 Trip to London, Part 2. Just then the hacker's phone rang. Hey there, the hacker asked. Ziyan? I'm Xingchen. I just received a request from my cousin, saying that we were at a party. The hotel was attacked by cyber hackers and they wanted to ask for my help. But I'm still asking for help at the airport. It won't arrive until tomorrow. Are you in the hotel now? Xingchen received help and called the hacker directly. You want us to help, the hacker replied. Yes, please help me. The star requester hacker wants him to take action. The hacker couldn't help laughing when he heard Xingchen's request. Hearing this laughter, Xingchen was very puzzled. Even if we don't come out, his fate won't be that bad, the hacker replied. Why? Xingchen is confused. He offended our lovely bun, Ziyan interjected after hearing the content of the call. When Xingchen heard this, he was even more confused about what happened. Finally, the hacker explained what happened and was relieved to hear that Baozi had done it himself. Hackers, you go to the monitoring room first. I'll give my cousin a call right now. Xingchen said and hung up the phone directly. Control room. Sir, there is a man named Sadakengo outside with a man, a woman and a child who wants to meet. You, Police Officer A asks for instructions from his superior. Hello, I am Edward Nick, the officer in charge of this incident. You are the Mr. Sada my cousin mentioned. Officer Edward walked up to the hackers and greeted them politely. It's like this. We tried many methods but couldn't defeat the opponent's attack on us. The defense line was gradually broken down. Officer Edward was sweating profusely. Just insert a child's voice at this moment. We've broken through. Tianqing patted her little hand to show off and looked at the rookie police officer who was standing aside in a daze. When Officer Edward heard the sound, he could put an egg in his mouth. He looked at the 7-year-old child sitting in front of the computer with no confidence and suddenly felt guilty. His team members are extremely incompetent, because they are not even as good as a 7-year-old child. Seeing his subordinates lowering their heads and covering their faces, they really want to slap themselves to death. Baozi, you are so awesome. The hacker walked up to Baozi and rubbed her head. Tianqing slapped the sinful hand off his head and stared at him with a murderous look. At this time, Ziyan walked to Tianqing's side. Baozi, what are you going to do now? Ziyan asked curiously. Looking at Ziyan's confused eyes, Tianqing just smiled. I just bought him a new computer. Tianqing smiled sinisterly. Later, with the cooperation of Baozi and several others, all the systems in the hotel quickly returned to normal, but the criminal's computer suffered the most serious damage. It was about to be scrapped. That computer was worth $5 million. At this time, Tianqing looked at her watch and found that it was already past 11 o'clock. Then she remembered that her mobile phone had been set to silent mode while working. Now when she took it out to look at it, she found that Ari was on the phone. I called her no less than 20 times. What a shame, I was so busy doing business that I forgot to tell my mother and came running here with you. Tianqingfa immediately went to social media. Just then Tianqing's phone rang. It was a strange caller. Hey there. Tianqing answered the phone. Xiaoqing, where did you run away? Mom almost fainted when she found you missing, Xiaolan asked straight away on the phone. I was anxious when I heard something happened to my mother. What's wrong with Mom? Tianqing became anxious after hearing this. Xiaolan was relieved when she heard the voice on the phone. My dad has sent her back to the room. Where are you now? Xiaolan calmed down and asked. Dr. Tingjing and I are in the monitoring room. I will go back soon and you should go back and rest first. Tianqing hung up the phone after saying that. Ari's room. At this time, Ari was sitting quietly on the bed alone, full of fear in her heart. She was afraid that Tianqing would never find her this time like 10 years ago. She was really scared because she didn't want to bear the pain of 10 years ago again. At this moment, there was a knock on the door of the room. Eri rushed to open the door without saying a word. "Mom, I'm sorry I left without telling you." Tianqing felt heartbroken when she saw Eri's eyes filled with tears and fear. "You ran there," Eri said, hugging Tianqing tightly in her arms. "I'm sorry, Mom went to the monitoring room with Dr. Tingjing because something happened, and my hand. The phone has also been set to silent, so I can't hear your call." Tianqing hugged Miles and explained the cause and effect in a low voice. "Tianqing promised me not to leave quietly in the future. I'm afraid you will disappear like before." Eri's voice was a little trembling. It turns out that it was the incident where Kagoro's master took away Tianqing 10 years ago that left her with a shadow. Seeing this, Kagoro blamed himself. He thought he would let her go after explaining to her 10 years ago. "Mom, I will never disappear again, maybe I will never suddenly disappear again." The words behind Tianqing were said very softly. But Tianqing still hugs Miles tightly. "But if one day I suddenly disappear, please forgive me," Tianqing thought to herself. That night, Eri held Tianqing tightly in her arms until Eri woke up the next morning. "When I arrived, I found that Tianqing was still sleeping, so I gently got out of bed, packed everything, and went out to find the client." I don't know how much time passed before Tianqing's phone rang. "Hello, who are you?" Tianqing's voice was clearly not awake yet. "I'm Ing. Let's come out and have dinner together." Ing excitedly invited Tianqing to come out. "We can't see you until the 10th. What happened yesterday scared my mother a lot." Tianqing was worried that her mother would be frightened again. After hearing about Tianqing, Ing finally let her go. "Okay, see you then," Ing said and hung up the phone. At this time, Tianqing got up and saw the note left by Eri. She smiled and waited for Miles to come back in the room with peace of mind.